level. Let's take a look at Art Safeway. Hitting lineup, Jason McDonald's going to lead it off tonight and play center field. It'll be Rafael Bornegol at shortstop. Mark Bellhorn, who lit off last night, moves to number 3 spot at third base. Matt Stairs will DH at fourth. Jason Giambi at first base. Scott Spezio will play second base. Brent Main will hit seventh to do the catching. Brian Lesher hitting eighth in left field. And Ernie Young will move over to right field and hit ninth. And on the mound tonight, as Art Howe and his Oakland A's look to win one here in Baltimore, is Andrew Lorraine. And Jim, obviously another young man that they're looking to provide some pitching relief with.
Yeah, came up with the Angels third, fourth round draft choice. Not overpowering, but you can see he's pitched extremely well. He's going to have to keep the ball down in the strike zone, keep it out of the middle of the plate, and be able to get that slider, changeup, curveball, and fastball over, but get it in good spots.
Andrew Lorraine is going to face the best team in Major League Baseball by the number. The Orioles of Davey Johnson, 32 games over the 500 mark. He'll line it up on the Safeway side this way. Brady Anderson leading off at center field. Jeff Rebele will play second base and hit second. B.J. Surhoff at left field will hit third. Geronimo Barroa is the DH. Rafael Palmeiro, the home run hitter of last night, hitting fifth. Cal Ripken will play third base and hit sixth. Jeffrey Hammond's back in the lineup tonight in right field. Chris Hoiles will do the catching. Mike Bordick will play shortstop. And on the mound, the man looking for his 104th career win. He's the best on the active side of Major League Baseball, Mike Mussina.
3-0 in his last 3 starts. He's on a roll. You can see right there, Texas, Oakland, and Anaheim, and won 19 the last 2 years. And if he can have a great stretch run, it appears that he is primed to do that. He might just win 20 games this year, even though I don't think that's that important. I think, as Davey Johnson has said all year long, keep him rested, great bullpen. If he gets in trouble late, or even if he gets his pitch count up, go to the bullpen and have him ready for the postseason.
Mike Mussina, the benefactor of 13 runs in the Coliseum in Oakland the last time he faced the A's. All right, let's take a look at the men that work it tonight. They've got their regular apparel together tonight, the uniforms for the umpires. Bill Miller behind home plate, Al Clark at first base, Jim Joyce at second base, and the young man who worked home plate last night, Eric Cooper, at third base. There's Al Clark, the crew chief. Jim, he looks a little bit better in the blue and gray of the American League than he did. I don't think he can be the backup shortstop for the O's in that uniform he was wearing last night.
No, I think the A's, after losing 8-0, thought that with the umpires with the Oriole uniforms on, maybe that's one of the reasons they won. There were 7 guys playing the infield.
That's right. Had a couple of numbers changes tonight. Tony Tarasco is now wearing number 43. So Tony now has number 43 in his Oriole uniform. Tonight's Giant HTS Orioles $1 Million Magic contestant Ingrid Shalom from Aberdeen, Maryland. Ingrid, you've automatically won a Panasonic 27-inch stereo TV. And if an Orioles player hits for the cycle, you're going to win $1 million. Turn your field of dreams into a field of green by playing Giant HTS Orioles $1 Million Magic. See your local Giant for details. The brief 2-game series comes to its windup, and tomorrow on the horizon, the big unit, Randy Johnson and those Seattle Mariners. But first things first for the Orioles, Harold Baines, also a numbers changee. Harold now sporting number 3 on his Orioles uniform. So Tarasco goes to 43. Harold Baines wearing number 3. Magnificent night for Orioles baseball. Settle back and enjoy. See if the Birds can continue their mastery over Art Howe and his very struggling Oakland Athletics. This is Jason McDonald, the young man hitting .217. He takes a Mussina fastball called strike, and we are underway. Cal Ripken obviously respecting the leadoff speed of Jason McDonald, in ahead of the bag and the cut of the grass. Checked his swing into short center field. Mike Bordick will put it away. McDonald checks swing.
It may have been a little bit out of the strike zone. He's retired on the pop-up to Mike Bordick.
Yeah, Art Howe still looking for that leadoff guy, and Jason McDonald with a lot of steals. Saw the batting average at .217, only 4 steals. Been caught twice, but 33 last year, 70 year before, and 50 year before. So able to get on right. The fastball, not only good velocity at over 90, but good location up and in.
There's Rafael Bornegol. Bornegol played the bulk of the shortstop duties at the 4-game series in the Coliseum as he looks at a called strike from Mike Mussina. Jim, you were saying before the game tonight in our conversations that
No, actually, again, Mike Mussina is expected to go out and beat this Oakland ball club, and certainly, you got to pay attention to detail to be able to do that.
Well, you certainly do, and we talked about it last night. In a non-demeaning way, this ball club has made a lot of trades. They have a lot of injuries. They've had, we've got 10 guys on the disabled list right now as we speak. They've gone through just a lot of players, so you have a lot of guys probably having their careers accelerated as far as getting to the major leagues. Maybe really in a perfect world you'd like to have them spend more time at the AAA level, but they're here, young ball club. I don't know if Hard Hal is under a lot of pressure, because I don't think anybody could win with this ball club right now. Inexperienced pitching, don't have a lot of speed, don't have as much power. Last year when they had set the all-time, or they were third on the all-time list for home runs. Not a good ball club at this moment.
Bornegal will line it inside. Palmeiro in the bag. Down in the corner and right, Jeffrey Hammonds quickly on the baseball. Hammonds playing Bornegal. The hit to right field, and Jeffrey pounced on it quickly. So Rafael Bornegal now has extended his hit streak to 8 games with this line drive base hit.
No, it took him 527 ABs to hit his first major league home run, and you saw right there the fact that most guys that would have been a double. But because of the fact he does not have a lot of power, you play very shallow, maybe a step in the infield and a little bit shallower in the outfield. And with Hammond's great ability to go get the ball, you keep the runner from getting into scoring position.
Bring up Mark Bellhorn. Bellhorn, who led off last night for Art Howe. Drive to the gap, deep right center field. Anderson looking up. This ball is gone. We talk about a lack of power punch on this club, and just like that, Mark Bellhorn has drilled the 18th home run of the year off Mike Mussina. 2-0 Oakland.
Well, Mike Mussina, when he's on, is about location and throwing the unexpected. But right there, I don't believe he wants to get the fastball where he did. Bellhorn last year hitting 20 home runs shows you, as a switch hitter, pretty good pop. You can see the target low and away, and this ball right down the middle. And that's not the way you want to pitch here at Camden Yards. And Bellhorn waiting for it, and he delivers. Brady Anderson took about 3 steps and just watches it get into that right center pavilion.
Number 4 on the year for Mark Bellhorn. 2-run home run blast as Oakland on top. 2-0. If you recall, Oakland led the last 2 games of the series 3-0, both of them, in the Saturday and Sunday games out in the Coliseum in Oakland.
We talked about it last night. This is a ball club that is last in pitching in the American League. Last year it was the Tigers, and they have improved their pitching, but Oakland's struggling right now.
Fouled straight back off the bat of Matt Stairs. Only 3 hits last night for the Oakland Athletics. This man at home plate had 2 of them. Matt Stairs with a couple of singles off Scott Erickson. Stairs having an exceptional year. Swinging the bat very well, and Jim has delivered a lot of big hits in the games that Oakland has been able to win, and there have only been 47 of them. He's usually at a hand in their offense.
Well, everybody would like to play for a winning ball club, but if you're unable to, you still want to have what he's having, which is a career year. 17 home runs, 16 in Oakland, but a .356 batting average with runners in scoring position. Came up as a shortstop.
Ground ball to the right of Rebele. Jeff will backhand and throw out Matt Stairs. Now, after the home run from Bellhorn, Mussina induces Stairs to ground out to Jeff Rebele. 2 down here in the Oakland half of the first. We'll bring up Jason Giambi. Giambi, the left-handed hitting first baseman. And when you include the switch hitters that swing from the left side against Mike Mussina, Art Howe has loaded this lineup tonight with left-handed hitting, trying to gain some sort of a little edge against Mussina.
But it doesn't work against Mussina because he's second in the American League batting average against left-handed batters. Roger Clemens, he's held him to .206, and Mike's just a 1 point higher, .207.
I always thought it was only a .223.
I always felt it was easier if you're a right-handed pitcher to pitch to left-handers, because so many pitchers throw off the hitter, and when you are right-handed to a left-hander, the first thing you see is the catcher's glove. The hitter doesn't really come into view, with a couple of exceptions. Oscar Gamble, who actually literally hung over the plate even more so than Brady Anderson does. Giambi up on that play pretty good.
Mussina had the changeup, and Giambi was out in front. 2-1 on the first baseman of the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I talked to Jason. I mean, he had 2 rockets. One was deflected off of Cal's glove right to Bordick in the first inning. Otherwise, the A's would have put a run on the board. And then he hit a line drive that Cal made a great diving stab. I said, you got to try somebody else out.
Sound advice. Mussina missed up. 3-1 now on Jason Giambi. The A's have lost a couple in a row, of course, on Sunday, or on Monday rather, and then here in game number 1 last night. They had won 4 in a row. And when you consider they've lost 16 of the last 23, they, for a brief period of time, for Art House, started to play a little bit of decent baseball. They were swinging the bats pretty well in that series against Milwaukee out in Oakland.
See, right there, you've had a chance. He goes 2-0, throws him a changeup, goes 3-1, and throws him a changeup. And Mike Flanagan talks about it so often. If you pitch as much as he did or I did, you come out of the bullpen, you think you have a good fastball, and maybe Mike at this point doesn't have a good one. That's what Bellhorn hit, so he's going to use his other pitches, and he's certainly capable of doing that.
3-2 pitches fouled off by Giambi. The Orioles start this night here of action at the Yard. 5 games up on the New York Yankees. Now I say 5. You probably saw 5.5 in your morning paper, and you're correct. But as we start tonight here, the Yankees got a win for Hideki Arabu today. He went 5 2/3, gave up the 3 runs, but he left with a 4-3 lead, and the Yankees then pulverized the Kansas City bullpen. Giambi is a strikeout victim, chasing Mussina on his breaking pitch. A's get 2 on the Bellhorn home run. 2-0 Oakland. Orioles coming when we come back to the Yard. Games have both been rescheduled as the first game of a day-night split doubleheader. The June 1st makeup is September 15th at 1:35, with Game 2 starting at 7:35. Now on June 2nd, that makeup is at noon on September the 16th, with Game 2 at 6 p.m. Tickets remain for all 4 games at the Orioles box office, all Ticketmaster locations, or by calling the numbers you see on your screen. Be a part of Orioles baseball. Nothing like a day at the Yard. The young man's name is Andrew Lorraine. He's making his 4th Major League start. He is 0-2 in his very brief Major League career. Although Jimmy won 8 games at Edmonton, as you said, in AAA this year, this '97 season.
And 4 out of his last 5. Did not get off to a very good start. Started out 2-5 with an ERA of almost 7.5 runs a game. But as we mentioned, not overpowering. And the Orioles, putting 4 on the board last night early, made quite a statement. Carlos Reyes, not very overpowering. They sat on some breaking balls, got the 1 fastball that Palmeiro hit for the 3-run home run to left center, and got out in front early.
Brady Anderson will lead it off. Brady is up to 308 now, and he's hitting 11 straight games. Brady's almost hitting 400 in that 11-game burst that he's been on at 383. Slider misses away from Lorraine. Anderson has been a superb table setter of late for the Orioles offense. Jim went that 6-game area where Davey Johnson locked him down in the number 4 spot, but he's making that cleanup spot lately. Drive to the gap and deep left center field. Lesser chasing, it's off the top of the wall. Brady Anderson cruising into second base. Stand up, 2-base hit. Orioles offense behind that man, Brady Anderson, on the move early here against Lorraine.
Well, when you're not overpowering and you go 2-0 and then you throw a good fastball hitter a fastball, you'd better be a good pitch. That ball, not that bad. Downway. Brady, as you mentioned, 11-game hitting streak, now make it 12. But I think the most impressive thing, that is now the 22nd extra base hit that he's had in his last 27 games. So not only home runs, but extra base hits, and starting to hit like he did last year when he hit 50 home runs.
30th double on the year for Brady Anderson. So we take a look now at the 2, we'll use the word mildly, combatants last night. Jeff Rabelais and catcher Brent Mayne. No blows exchanged, but if you weren't with us or didn't hear about it, after Rabelais stole a base in a 7-0 Orioles lead, he and Brent Mayne had some problems after he was thrown behind actually, and you see the end result of it with both benches and bullpens empty. Called strike to Rebele. Jim, the consensus we found out in the Orioles clubhouse tonight is, hey, didn't see anybody wave the white flag in that A's dugout signifying that we've decided to quit and you go ahead and take this win from the 6th inning on.
Davey Johnson said he waited 5 pitches to run Rebele. They were playing behind him, and if he didn't play behind him, he wouldn't have run. And you do bring up a good point. There was no surrender by Art Howe in the A's, so Davey took advantage. Didn't do it on the first pitch, didn't do it on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Did it on the 5th. I mean, you could almost see a sign of resignation when Rebele did get down there. He said, listen, the manager gave me the sign, I went. But Davey said, I'm not letting somebody dictate to me, especially another manager, how I play this game, because the game wasn't over. Still a couple of more innings to be played by Oakland.
1-2 pitch, ground ball to right side, fair down the line and right. Anderson has made the turn. He'll score. Bobbled down in the right field corner by Ernie Young. It'll allow Rebele to move up a base. 2-1 Oakland. Orioles get half of it back in 2 hitters. Rebele driving in Brady Anderson here in the 1st.
Well, it just doesn't get any prettier than that. You're trying to get him over, do your job, and you get the bonus. Nice stroke right over the bag. You can see Al Clark pointing that it's fair, and Jeff right here is going to be content with a single until Ernie Young pulls it. Brady makes it 2-1, and Jeff moves into scoring position at 2nd. Perfect baseball. I mean, you got to work on this. You got to use the whole field. You got to stay inside the baseball. Couldn't have been performed more perfectly.
22nd RBI of the year for Jeff Rebele. Rebele continues his outstanding work. This is the 13th game that he has performed and has cut this Oakland lead in half. B.J. Surhoff to the plate now with Jeff Rebele in scoring position. Against young Andrew Lorraine, who has been touched up for a double and a single, and also given error to right fielder Ernie Young, who bobbled the baseball as he was trying to pick it up down on that right field line off the Rebele base hit.
BJ saying that normally that is a little bit too high to be called a strike, but Bill Miller out of the minor leagues, as we saw last night with another minor league umpire, Eric Cooper, a little bit more expansive strike zone. But you need to get used to his zone, because that's going to be the way it is.
0-2 to Surhoff. Fastball misses away. 1-2 on BJ. It was at 291 as he enters tonight's game. And yeah, the midshipmen are here again tonight from Annapolis. I believe there has been a lot of extra work by Hollywood types in shooting homicide here in the city this week. Did Surhoff go? No, he did not. Third base umpire Bill Miller says BJ held up, and you see Surhoff scolding himself at the plate.
Actually, I believe that's Eric Cooper. We have it again. Didn't we have Miller? We had Miller last night.
We had last night. We had behind the plate
Eric Cooper.
It was Eric Cooper.
So he moves to third.
You're right.
Miller. I mean, even though they confused it on the scorecard.
You're correct. We'll make that correction.
Yeah, I mean, we got to know who we want to blame.
2-2 pitch. Got away from catcher Brett Maine. Allows Jeff Rebele to move up a base. So real quickly, Andrew Lorraine is about to give up the 2-0 lead that he was given.
I believe it looked to me. I don't know how that'll be scored, but Brett Maine should have blocked this ball. The ball not in the dirt. The ball got all the way to the glove. Spoken like a true X pitcher. Take another look right here. You can see he has the glove down, actually giving him a low target, and then unable to get underneath the ball. And that is scored as a pass ball. Well, things not going, as you mentioned, well for Andrew Lorraine.
Swing and a miss. Strikes out B.J. Surhoff. You see B.J. having some conversation as he leaves the home plate area. So Lorraine with a strikeout to Surhoff to keep Rebele at third. Now with 1 out here in the 1st.
Well, they got exactly what you need with a runner with less than 2 outs at third base, and that's the strikeout. Makes a good quality pitch right on the outside corner. And B.J. unable to cover the outside corner, and he's out with a strike. And they will bring their infield in.
Yeah, Art Howe is going to bring that infield into the edge of the grass as Andrew Lorraine faces Geronimo Baroa. Went off speed, had Baroa swinging through it. Geronimo is a 289. See those numbers, those are all inclusive of his work this year at the plate, in both an Oakland uniform and an Orioles uniform. With the O's, Geronimo now with 5 home runs and 24 RBI, and then average starting to come up a little bit. He's at 248. Through the breaking pitch, maybe that slider that broke down and in under Geronimo's hands.
Change up on the first pitch, slider underneath the bat. And I think the more that I see Geronimo, you get when he's not seeing the ball well, he is going to swing at a lot of balls. So far, he has not appeared to be a guy that's going to hit good pitches. But if you make a mistake, he becomes an extremely dangerous hitter.
You watched a lot of games on the West Coast while out there. That's about as locked in and as swinging the bat the best we've seen Geronimo since he's been an Oriole. Fastball missed 1 and 2 on Burrow. Well, Jim, what you just described is the style of hitter that he is. He is going to take that approach with him to the plate all the time. Ground ball, foul outside the line at third. So if you're Burrow, you don't make a lot of concessions to being down in the count. You don't shorten up. You don't try to, not all the time, do those things. But again, with the style of hitter he is, you want him to look to drive the ball and look to produce runs hit in the middle of that lineup for you.
But you also, and what Rick Down has talked about any of his hitters getting, is getting a good pitch to hit. Now, it doesn't have to be quite as good for Geronimo because he has that free swing. To get an experienced pitcher on the mound, he knows that. Now, Andrew Lorraine hadn't been around very often at the major league level. He may not be able to keep the ball just off the corner, just out of the center of the plate. Burrow becomes a much better hitter.
2-2 pitch to Geronimo. Line to left field. Going to get down for a base hit. We're tied at 2 apiece. RBI single. Geronimo Burrow to score Jeff Reveille. Just like that, the Orioles get it right back after Mike Mussina made the mistake to Mark Bellhorn.
Take another look. The breaking ball that we talked about, change-ups, sliders. This one maybe a little bit higher than Andrew Lorraine would have liked, and Burrow may be looking for it. Been around long enough. Took him 11 years to get to the major leagues that he'll sit on a pitch. Figures Lorraine can't throw a fastball by him. If he does, he'll flip foul, gets a breaking ball, and makes it 2-2.
Here's Rafael Palmeiro. Rafael with his 24th home run last night. The 3-run shot in the very first inning.
Well, you have to like the idea that he went the other way. Rick Down says that no doubt that Rafael could be a guy that hits 325, 330. Doesn't know if he could hit the 39 home runs he's hit the last 2 years, but when he stays back and uses the whole field, and I think we saw that last night, not only the home run but 2 other base hits, the average will climb. It will not get to where he wants it to be in a hurry, but if you have those quality at bats, which he's capable of doing 3, 4, 5 times a night, that average will get into the 280s, maybe even the 290 before the season's over.
Sure, the 257 right now, I was going to say that would be realistic to see Rafael 285, 290 before it's all said and done.
And we're looking at a 298 lifetime major league hitter, 304 in the last 3 years as an Oriole. Here's your inexperience. Burrow is not going anywhere. I mean, if I'm Andrew Lorraine, I'm not worrying about Geronimo Burrow. I'm worrying about the guy that hit 39 home runs last year and drove in 142 runs. Because you worry about Burrow, it's going to be 4-2.
Unfortunately for the Athletics, that's the type of situations they've been running into all too frequently to suit manager Art Howe. Early leads and then seeing them vanish. And the breaking pitch, Palmeiro pops it up left side. Foul territory. Mark Bellhorn will put the squeeze on it. 2 down now with Burrow still at first.
Batting 6, the third baseman, number 8, Al Ripken.
Camden Yard ovation for Cal Ripken. Cal up to 286 with that hitting average. Big 2-run home run in Anaheim on Sunday night. Erase a 3-2 Anaheim lead in the late innings. The man of the constantly changing stances at the plate.
First thing I noticed on that Weston trip.
It's all about adaptation, right, Jim?
Exactly. Adjustment. Wasn't hitting well. Back spasm bothering him. All of a sudden he changes his stance. Now maybe he did that to make take some of the discomfort of the spasms of his back. All I know is it's worked.
It certainly has. Cal has been swinging along with Brady Anderson the hottest 2 bats that the Orioles have had of late, and this is right on the heels. He came out of the gym and won a 360. He was scuffling along somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 for 36, and then he just turned it all around on the West Coast swing in one fell swoop. Fly ball, short center field. And the outfield grass to put it away is shortstop Rafael Bornegal. Orioles get the 2 right back. We're tied at 2 apiece. Second inning coming up on HTS. Inning. Here's a reminder for you to stop by the Orioles bar at the Sheraton Inner Harbor Hotel before and after the game. You can talk a lot of Orioles baseball at the Sheraton Inner Harbor Orioles bar right here in downtown Baltimore. Both clubs with 2 in the first. Mike Mussina gave up the 2-run home run to young Mark Bellhorn. Orioles got it right back for him. He's got Spezio to lead it off, to be followed by Brent Maine and then Brian Lesher. A couple of more left-handed hitters at the 3 in against Mike Mussina. Mussina looking for his 7th win here at home this year. Mike with 6 of the 13 right here in the home ballpark. This is cued foul to the Oak dugout. Spezio is a .238 hitter on the year. 9 home runs, 41 RBI. Jim was kind of impressed actually with his glove work around second base. He seems like he is very adept at handling the glove and might be a solid anchor at second base for a long time to win this ball club.
A lot of Carlo by probably 5'6" when he first came up. I mean, as far as body style, big guy, but you can see him right there, frozen on a good fastball set up by the breaking balls earlier in the count. 1 lifetime home run that happened earlier this season. A low fastball off of Mike Mussina. So Scott Spezio this time just maybe thinking this ball is on the off the outside corner, or maybe a little bit off the corner. Let's take I mean, this is a definitive sign, and right here Spezio says it's outside. It was, but not tonight. Bill Miller with maybe a little wider strike zone, and then Mike taking advantage on that pitch.
Mussina has fanned now 2 in a row as he gets Giambi down the first and Spezio leading off the second. Here's Brent Maine, the catcher. When you knew that there was a young umpire or a guy that maybe was up from AAA at that time, vacation relief, now they do. But what was the approach, to just feel him out as you would an opposing hitter almost?
I think so, even though you get a tendency to know what an umpire does. Is he a high ball umpire? Does he give you the ball just off the corner? A guy like Steve Palermo, who was the best, I guess, in the 80s, he wouldn't give you. You had to throw the ball to the ball. And then, of course, umpires, their strike zone will vary from night to night. One night they will give you the corner, and one night they won't. But if you're a hitter or a pitcher, you just have to find out what they're calling on that particular night. And once you determine that, you hope that they're consistent for the 9 innings. That's all you can ask.
Mussina with a 1-2 pitch name. Got a piece of it and fouled it off the equipment of Chris Hoiles back on the screen.
Mike with good velocity tonight. The home run in the first inning to Mark Bellhorn was a fastball that he just didn't make a good pitch with, but his velocity 94. He'll throw that 4-seamer that'll just kind of rise. You get the 4 seams against the air, and that friction makes the ball go up, and then that 2-seamer it'll run away from the lefties into the righties. And Mostly this year he's been down in the strike zone.
High chop off the plate. Ripken's going to have to hurry. Cal not able to make a play. Infield base. Maine doesn't run real well, but that ball was skied off the plate. Ripken had no play on Maine, who collects the third hit of the night for Oakland.
Well, when in Baltimore, why not the Baltimore chop? And Cal, come on down, please, come on. Yep, there it is, but not in time. Couldn't get a good handle on it, wouldn't have mattered.
Well, the A's have Brent Maine aboard here with one out here in the top of the second. Here's Brian Lesher. Lesher was hit pretty much all over Art Howe's lineup when we were out in Oakland. Just come up from Edmonton. Was having a wonderful year there as he swings through the Mike Mussina knuckle curve.
Well, everybody that was at Edmonton this year that's in the lineup tonight had a good year. I mean, Ernie Young hit 323. Lesher 21 home runs. He also hit 323. Mark Bellhorn, all with a 2-run home run, hit 328. So maybe these guys can hit, or it's a good hitting league, or maybe a little bit of both.
It's a real good hitting league, and the air is rare in some of those spots, isn't it?
Yeah. Some of the parks very small. But Lesher 2 home runs on Sunday in Milwaukee. But he will be tested tonight.
Real hard. And the Oakland A's were talking about it before the ball game. They said you just can't sit on one pitch. It doesn't matter what the count. Mike Mussina is not predictable. Now he can make a mistake. We've seen that in the first inning when he got a ball in the middle of the plate and up in the strike zone to Bellhorn. But you just can't say it. 3-2. It's automatic be a fastball. No, it's going to be a fastball.
Called straight. That was a fastball, and one that had a little bit of extra kick to it, and Brian Lesher absolutely frozen at the plate.
So you come out of the bullpen, it takes you a while to get in gear, and right here you can see Chris just
Talking about Chris, watch him bring the ball down. Just bring it down a little bit. Give Bill Miller a better chance.
Brian Lesher appeared to me have plenty of the plate. You can see it had about 3-4 inches of that outside corner, but he might have thought it was a little bit high, or maybe he just doesn't, as a youngster, know the strike zone yet.
Well, here's Ernie Young in right field. Looks at this ball high. Young has been struggling. He's been a disappointment. He's only hitting 175. Ernie Young was given a large opportunity to win this center field job every day here in Oakland. Art Howe sticking with him and trying to play him, but the numbers don't reflect that confident Howe has paid in him.
You know, I talked about him because you're looking at a guy right here that hit 19 home runs last year. Brocious is on the DL, hit 22. Baroa hit 36. McGuire hit 52. Steinbach hit 36. That's how they got to 243.
And he always got a lot. 489 at bats, 118 strikeouts. He said early in the year they had another guy by the name of Damon Mayshore. He struggled early. Mayshore got a chance to play, stole some bases, played a little bit better in the outfield, and all of a sudden Ernie said it's tough. You played 1 year every day, finding yourself playing irregularly. Didn't perform, as you mentioned. Sent him back to Edmonton, and now with all the trades, as we look at Duffy Dyer, one of my former adversaries in high school.
In Arizona?
In Arizona, that's right. The only base hit in the state tournament against him.
You remember him?
Protecting fouling off the 1-2 pitch.
But Ernie Young said, you know, now got an opportunity. A lot of Mayshore out with the subluxation of the shoulder. He's on the disabled list, won't play this year. But a chance to play regularly, and that's, if you're a young player, that's what you ask for. Then it's up to you to produce.
Yeah, you were rattling off a lot of those names that were offensive minded last year. Brent Gates had a very good year for him, and he was released in spring training.
The A's trying to conserve salary.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch. Young will hit it slowly left side. Bordick's got to charge and deliver, and they'll throw out Ernie Young. Young not getting down the line real well. Mussina out of the second. We're tied at 2 apiece when we come back on HTS. Yard for the final time this season. 3-game series, August 26th through the 28th. A lot of good seats still remain for all three. Get them today at the Orioles box office, at the Ticketmaster, or you might want to call the numbers you see on your screen. Be a part of Orioles baseball. There's none like it
at the Yard. With Palmer, I'm Michael Rega. I hope you're enjoying tonight. The moon out in all splendor over downtown Baltimore as the Orioles counteracted the Oakland 2 runs in the top of the first with 2 of their own. That's where we stand right now, tied at 2 apiece. Jeffrey Hammond's back in Dave John's starting lineup. In right field tonight. Hammonds has been in and out of the lineup for the last 10 days as he's had that Achilles tendon strain act up on him a little bit. So Jeffrey has not been able to be full go for Davey.
Only 2 starts since July 31st. 0 for his last 12. That left Achilles tendon is one that's bothering him. Said it was 110% last night.
Base hit left field off the bat of Jeffrey Hammonds. Now Jeffrey trying to show his manager that he's ready to get back in that lineup on an everyday basis, and if he does, you know that Davey will pencil him in, Jim, and that means going to be the jockey with Boa and Bain. We have to assume one of them not going to be starting on a continual basis if Hammonds is ready to go every night.
But what a luxury if you're Davey Johnson. You have the luxury of having 2 power-laden batters that you know, Baines can hit both righties and lefties, even though his numbers are somewhat reduced from a power number if he's hitting off left. And then Baroa doesn't hit righties as well, but can really mash the left-handers. But you can probably get them both enough at bats to keep them sharp. And that's what Davey has talked about doing if Hammonds gets well, and it appears that he's on his way to doing that.
Speaking of getting well, here's Chris Hoyles. Chris at 265. The Orioles catcher. 10 home runs and 42 RBI. And Hoyles trying to get his back in a good rhythm. Lorraine misses down. 1-0 on Chris.
That first major league errance last night at third base in the 9th inning.
Yeah. After Rebele was tossed, after being thrown at, both he and Brent Maine ejected from the ball game. Chris went to third base. And I thought Scotty Erickson handled it perfectly, kept the ball away from him.
And that's going against the old axiom that says when you're put out there, the ball's going to find you wherever you are. If it's in a position that you're not comfortable with, it's going to find you. So Erickson was deceptive in that nature, huh?
That's what we used to think when we played Minnesota. They couldn't hide him. We wanted him to hide when he came to the plate, but you would find him sooner or later, whether he was playing first or third, defensively. But boy, over 500 home runs.
The most of, were you aware of that? The most of any opposition hitter against the Orioles, career-wise, lifetime?
Harmon, oh, I hope. In fact, I still remember Dave McNally and I, we played Minnesota right before we were tuning up for the World Series in '66, and Dave and I were battling to see who could throw the most home runs that year, and I threw 2 in the opening and he beat me by throwing 3 in the nightcap. And then Killebrew hit 1 off him and 1 off me. Another guy that a lot of people probably don't recall unless you're a Twins fan, Davey would remember him, is Don Mincher, first baseman.
Oh, yeah.
Big, strong left-hander. Davey watched a lot of his fly balls go over his head, headed for the seats.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people the year before you appeared in your first World Series in '66, the Twins.
That's like the Dodgers.
In '65. Billy Martin was a manager of that ball club. 3-0 to Chris Hoyles. Big Bob Allison along with Killebrew.
Oh, they had
Soyo Versailles, Cesar Tovar. Nice club. Did Tovar play all 9 positions one night?
He pitched. I liked it when he played center field. He went up for a fly ball that Brooks hit one night, and he got so close to the wall when he jumped up for the wall that he actually pile drived his head in the top of the wall, and it just shot him into the ground. The ball went about 6 inches over the.
Hoyles with a drive to deep right center field. McDonald back by the wall with room to pull it in. Well, Chris Hoyles made a bid. send young Jason McDonald to the deepest part of Camden Yards in that right center field gap to haul in his long fly ball.
Well, when Chris is hitting well, that's where he loves the ball. Out over the plate, likes to get his arms extended. His first home run back off that month on the disabled list was a home run to right center off of that's the White Sox
to help win a ball. Boy, if he gets it in gear and has any kind of last 6 weeks like he had early on in the year, the Orioles offensively and defensively, because he's had a terrific year calling pitches. It's important to have him healthy.
Mike Bordick to face Lorraine. Hit and run on. Hammonds was going. You see Bordick trying to pull those hands back, as Jim talks about quite a lot, and try to go the other way.
Well, something that Mike Bordick works on. Rick Down, the hitting instructor, saying if I could just get everybody to be a grinder like him. First guy out here, last to leave, whether it's taking ground balls or working on his stroke. And we saw that last night with a triple to right center field. Hit a pretty good pitch down and away. And that manifests itself in even though you're not hitting where you want it. His average only at 233, but 293 over his last 17 games. He's forgotten about that bad start.
Bordick looked at Lorraine's fastball down and away. 1-1 on the Orioles shortstop. We are online with you tonight. America Online here at Keyword HTS. So we're in the baseball chat room. We'd love to talk baseball with you. You get on board with us and we'll pass along some of the questions as you see the AOL address for you. We're in a 2-2 tie here in the bottom of the second as Lorraine looks at Jeffrey Hammonds. Jim, the ball club just got back from the West Coast. Obviously, you mentioned a little bit last night. You go through that time change and try to adapt your body to it. What about the 3-hour time difference? One of our viewers wants to know, does it hurt the performance of the players for the first couple days after you either go out west or then come back?
Well, it didn't as far as wins and losses because they beat the A's 3 out of 4. But as we mentioned, it took them 11 innings to score a run, and they won 4-0 in the first ball game.
Hammonds going. The throw from Brett Maine, not in time. Stolen base, Jeffrey Hammonds. So it has been a while for Jeffrey, but he's only been caught one time this year, and that was on the first week of the season back against Kansas City. So for Jeffrey Hammonds, that's stolen base number 12.
Well, he talked about feeling 110%. Great pitch to run on. Breaking ball down and in. Maine has to reach to his left, come back, makes a very good throw, but you can see that Hammonds can run. Throw just a little bit too high. That throw down, he might have gotten Jeffrey. Go ahead run now with only one out at second.
And Bordick in a favorable count as he awaits a 2-1 from Andrew Lorraine. The inside corner, 2-2 on Mike Bordick.
But to go back to answer your question, I think that took them 11 innings to score a run, and they went on to win 4-0, lost 2-1, then came back, as you mentioned, from 3-0 deficits in both of the other games. It's a little bit different. You go to sleep, I mean, it's easy to go to sleep when you're on the West Coast because of 11 o'clock is 2 o'clock and so on and so on. I always found it in an era where you pitched a lot of complete games. Sometimes it was tough when the game went 3 hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes. Being on the mound in Anaheim at 1:15. Body time.
Yeah.
But you just don't tell your body, if you try to have a regular schedule, that it's 3 hours earlier.
What about coming back east? Did you find that maybe if you were, now a lot of times you'd get sent home early, obviously. You say you never did?
One time.
If you were going to start like the day coming back from a West Coast trip?
I didn't like to do that only because it put too much pressure on me. I figure out my teammates are going to fly all night long. I ought to be with them, and then I'd have an excuse in case I lost.
I like that thinking. Yeah, very shrewd. Hammonds is breaking for third. Bordick with a ground ball over the bag at first. Giambi will love it and then race to the bag to beat Mike Bordick. So Jeffrey Hammonds on the move as Bordick tried to go the other way for his base hit.
Center fielder Brady Anderson.
Now here's Brett. Now has built that hitting streak, as you see, to 12 games with his double to the gap deep left center field. Just missed going out of here.
Well, if you're Andrew Lorraine, I think what happens is part of being a successful pitcher is experience, and the experience that Andrew had with Brady, he got behind 2-0, made a big pitch. Brady's being
fastball in that situation and hit a good pitch for a double. Almost just missed a home run by maybe 2-3 inches to left center. A lot of times the difference between successful pitchers, if you're not overpowering, can you throw off speed pitches when you're behind? Coils for them, and it feels that the Orioles' high pitching staff, you don't have guys with power arm can throw that 3-2 breaking ball, the 2-0 breaking ball, or a 2-0 changeup. So you become less predictable if you're a pitcher.
1-1 on Brady Anderson with that double in the first inning. Brady up over the 350 mark on the year against his Oakland Athletics club. He leads the Orioles now with 16 base hits against A's pitching. He awaits the 1-1. Broke his bat and grounded it to the right of Jason Giambi. Flipped the Lorraine to beat Brady Anderson to the bag by step. Orioles ran. Jeffrey Hammond's at third base. Third inning coming up. We're tied at 2. He'll work overtime for you to get you in the car that you can afford and want to look good in. So if it's not a Town and Country deal, it's not your best deal. Go see Mr. Nobody at Town and Country Pontiac Suzuki in Perry Hall.
Do you have a car?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
I mean, you're an urbanite. I just figured you might have come across the.
You think I water taxi over to the ballpark?
That's what you told me.
Occasionally, but I have
not all of them.
I have a vehicle.
Okay.
You want me to go see Mr. Nobody?
Well, I just wondered. Sure, he could use the business. You don't want to see him. He won't be back from Richmond till Friday. But
okay, I'm gonna make sure I make a point that's on the things to do list.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you had him up here. I mean, very much.
He'll be here Friday.
He'll be here Friday night.
Yes,
okay.
He will.
Good. Shot the deep right by Jason McDonald. That was not coming back. He got all of it and crushed it out of here. Solo home run. Young Jason McDonald. Mike Mussina has been nicked up for now 2 home run blasts. Oakland leads it 3-2.
Well, threw the fastball by him the first time, and right here he gets behind him. And I said that normally he's not predictable, but here's a predictable 1-0 fastball. Jason McDonald looking for the heater, and he slams this. Not known for his power, even though last year hit 5 home runs in the Mexican League in a 2-week period. So you get predictable, you lay it in there. It's not good advice here at Camden Yards. Hitter friendly.
Second home run Mike Mussina has given up tonight. That's 19 on the year now that Mussina has allowed. And that leads the Oriole pitching staff in home runs allowed this year. There's Rafael Bornegal. Oakland back on top 3-2. As we mentioned, Tom Davis will wheel you through all of the scores coming up in a moment. But the Yankees were winners today behind Hideki Arabu. Orioles again start the night 5 games up on the Yankees by virtue of that Yankee win.
Well, that old adage, play 500 against the contending clubs and just beat the heck out of the ones that aren't contending. You got to win tonight. I mean, you'd love to win this ball game. This is the point of the ceiling. You check out that scoreboard. You already know the Yankees won.
Right. And with Randy Johnson lurking tomorrow here at Camden Yards. Bornegal popped it up, Rebele on the grass to put it away.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people thrilled to see Randy Johnson pitch tomorrow night in Camden Yards, but I can probably tell you 9 or 10 Oriole hitters that aren't looking forward to it. I mean, it's a challenge. But in a perfect world, he would have pitched tonight.
Right. Right. Without if they did not have this off night. They're landing in Baltimore, maybe already here, but if not, probably a little bit later on this evening. And they will not only with Randy Johnson, but then they're going to send out the young Maryland native
the rookie who threw very well last Saturday for Lou Piniella in the Kingdome against Chicago, Ken Cloud. Did you happen to see that, Jim? You see Cloud pitch last?
I didn't see him pitch,
Saturday?
but I did look at the box score, and
he was impressive.
He left, I think, with the score 1-1, and the bullpen gave up a couple of runs, and he got the loss.
He hadn't given up a hit until into the sixth inning. The Maryland native will be throwing here at Camden Yards. Mark Bellhorn not catching up to the Mussina knuckle curve. Now this is a young man that hit the first home run off Mike Mussina tonight. The two-run drive that got out of here in deep right center field.
And what is Mike doing the second time? You know, you talk so often about a hitter saying, I want to see as many pitches as I can. I want to go deep into the count. It's nice to see what kind of velocity, what kind of movement, how sharp the breaking ball is. Well, sometimes if you're a pitcher, you like to know where a guy, I always want to know which ball can he hit out. And Mike Mussina, first time up against Bellhorn ever, found out he can hit that high fastball, as he did with McDonald. You want to know how a guy reacts to the 2-0 fastball. And once you know that, then you know you can't make a mistake. Talking to some of the young Oakland pitchers, and so often if you're going to pitch a lot of innings, you're going to throw a ball right down the middle, and he's going to hit it. But you got to know what the count is, the capability of the hitters. Did you have the good fastball that night or whatever? And once you factor all those things in, you decide what pitch you need to throw.
1-2 pitch, line drive will back up Rebele on the edge of the outfield grass. He'll gun down Mark Bellhorn, got him by a step. Jeff Rebele calculated that, waited till he got that hop back on the outfield grass to throw out Bellhorn.
And you see right here, one-handed swing on the changeup. Home run on the high fastball, but fools him with the arm. I mean, the great arm action that Mike Mussina has, and he was already out on his front foot.
Here's Matt Stairs. Now one of those 11 base hits, and Stairs is still swinging away at over 330. Now he was up over 350 before this recent run of 11 for 54 has taken him down about in the neighborhood of 20 points.
And that is because of that rib pull on his right side. We talked about it last night. You're hitting 357. You want to get back in a hurry. And I think you rushed it. I mean, just imagine you've never really had a chance to play regularly, and here you find yourself in the middle of August. I mean, hitting 333 coming into the game, 332 as we speak. You hit 17 home runs, more than you've ever hit ever in your minor leagues or the major leagues. You're going to play regularly. You don't want to be on the DL. You don't want to be sitting on the bench. You want to be getting your rips. As I mentioned, came up as a shortstop, played second base. And he said he used to pitch. That's when he had a good arm.
Well, that's not a shortstop's body. We know that, but the man could swing the bat, and he just receives the walk from Mike Mussina. So a 2-out walk to Matt Stairs will have Mussina facing Jason Giambi here in the third.
He reminds me of a guy, and I know I'm going to date myself, but I was only 19 when I faced him. But Smokey Burgess was a pinch hitter for the White Sox. Kind of lean back like Matt Stairs does, and he could hit. Used like a 38-ounce bat. Got it started in a hurry because he was probably 38, 40 years old when he was playing back in 65. I like this kid, Giambi. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah.
Now, it would help to have guys like McGuire and Barreau hitting him in front of and behind him.
Like he did last year. And Steinbach. But that's not the case anymore. And as we were saying last night, Mark McGuire kind of made sure that Jason Giambi took over the corner locker in the Oakland clubhouse. Wanted to give him the number, but Giambi said, no, I'm not going to do that. And, you know, I mean, you can tell McGuire expects big things out of this young man. Fastball missed up to Jason Giambi.
He has good power to all fields. It looked like he could stay inside the ball last night. We talked about those 2 hits that were taken away, the deflection by Cowell, and then a great play later on in the ball game. But when you start hitting that low and away fastball on the line to left field, you're gonna make a lot of pitchers respect your ability to cover the entire plate.
You see the lead of Stairs fighting it off. Giambi. Mussina got in on his fists.
And I asked him, I said, how do you approach hitting against Mike Mussina? He said, well, we saw him out in Oakland. He said, you can't sit on any one pitch, even though he has tonight made a couple of mistakes with his fastball. He said, you just got to look for the ball. Rick Down used to say when he was the batting coach in New York, the only thing you can do with Mike Mussina is try to take the fastball the other way and let the changeup speed up the bat. And they had a pretty good approach against Mike. Not that he ever got hit hard, but they get the pitch count up, and then later on in the ball game they get into the bullpen. Now that used to work against the Orioles, no longer.
Mussina check on Stairs. We're in the third. 3-2 Oakland. The A's have broken the tie, and young Jason McDonald's leadoff home run here in the third off Mike Mussina. Mussina looking for his 13th career win against this Oakland franchise. He has, to use the baseball term, owned the Oakland Athletics. 12-3. His 12th 2 starts ago on the West Coast trip.
Amazing thing about Mike is, last year he had a 5.39 ERA here at Camden Yards. You talked about the fact he's 6-2, but he's already given up tonight in 3 runs more than he normally does. 2.65, and that's the 5th best in all of baseball. Who's ahead of him? Clemens, Johnson, Erickson, Pettit. Pretty good names. Nice to be included in that group. Best home ERAs in the American League.
Mussina's 1-2 to Giambi. Fastball missing. 2-2 on the A's first baseman. Speaking of pitching, we're pleased to have one of your former teammates from the late 60s, early 70s in the booth here tonight. And the man knew how to win a little bit, huh?
Davey Leonard, yeah, he was a longtime Oriole.
There's Davey.
Taught me how to pitch. Just watch him go 16-4 his first year, then 20-5, then 15-3, A-ball, AA, AAA.
Line shot, base hit, right center field. Look at Stairs. He'll make the turn, and he will cruise over to third. On the base hit, the right center field off the bat of Jason Giambi. Runners at the corners now with 2 down for Scott Spezio.
Appeared to me, he looks for a changeup. You can see him stay back. Front foot comes up a little bit, front foot comes down, but the hands stay back, and he hits that changeup after striking out on it the first time. So not only a good hitter as far as using the whole field, but also making some adjustments. Mussina showed him the breaking ball the first time. He gets it the next time and is able to hit it into right center. You saw Stairs limping. He got, after those 2 base hits last night, Scotty Erickson threw one about 2 feet inside, hit him right on the right hip bone. So he was hobbling today.
Now Mike Mussina, who wants to keep it at 3-2 here in the third, is going to go after Scott Spezio. Drop that knuckle curve in for a called strike. Now Jim, you're in very good shape and stay very tuned and toned. Davey Leonard might be outdoing you. I'm telling you, he looks good.
Well, you've never met his wife Doris, and if you worked 18-20 hours at the greenhouse, Davey owns a. David can talk. You can probably talk on that microphone, but Davey owns a one on the North Shore in Beverly. 6 or 8 greenhouses. How many hours, Davey?
A lot.
An honest appraisal, honest answer. And we're pleased to have Davey Leonard with us. Was it 67 to 72, Davey? 71, 72?
Very good.
Okay. You were part of some pretty strong pitching staffs here
unfortunately
in Baltimore.
for me.
See Chris Hoyle's moving over and setting up on the outside corner that Mike Mussina missed with his fastball. 1-2 on Spezio.
Just see if you can get Bill Miller behind the plate to expand the strike zone, but that one just a little bit too outside. Hot muggy night. Apparently front coming in tonight's going to cool things off a little bit, but I just thought it was an advantage. You get an Oakland team where you don't have a whole lot of humidity. They come in here, you figure the pitchers maybe going to get tired in the 5th or 6th, where you're somewhat acclimated to this climate. If that's all possible when it's hot and humid.
Mike Mussina is slowing his pace a little bit here in the top of the third. Oakland with 3 runs and 5 hits, and as Jim just said, usually about a game's worth against Mike Mussina. That's how good he's been going of late.
Well, it may be one of those nights. You know Giambi's not going to be running at first, and you know Mussina, who's so quick to the plate, they've only attempted to steal in 25 starts this year 9 times. So for him to even throw over, it tells me that maybe his concentration not quite as acute. And you talked about it last night. You know, it's not automatic as it normally is. Because you would never see him throwing to first in a non-running situation. He knows that what he has to do with 2 outs, runners at first and third, is get the hitter out at the plate.
2-2 to Spezio, and a knuckle curve stayed up.
Many nights Brooks Robinson, Doug DeCinces would come over from third and look at me and say, "Where are you tonight?"
Oh, yeah.
And I'd go, "I may be here physically, but sometimes your mind just isn't as tuned in as you'd like to have it be."
Right.
And I think maybe some self-doubt. Pretty good velocity night, 93, 94, not good location, so he may not know what he wants to throw right here when usually it's almost automatic.
3-2 pitch is fouled off by Spezio. Obviously Giambi was moving with 2 out here in the top of the 3rd. Good to have you along tonight on HTS. Glad you're making Orioles baseball a part of your sports programming with us tonight. Michael Regite, Jim Palmer, our producer Joan O'Brien, our director Chris Glass, and all of this outstanding HTS crew who brings you the best pictures and sound in the business out of Camden Yards. 3-2 pitch. Again, grounded foul. Spezio and Mussina all locked in this battle.
We see Mike Mussina with 62 pitches, and we're not even through the 3rd. You know that this is not a normal night for Mike. Not if you've been watching Oriole baseball over the last 5-6 years.
Runners at the corners again. The 3-2 to Spezio. Swing and a miss. Not in the strike zone. Spezio chased it. Mussina strands 2 after he gives up the solo home run to Jason McDonald. 3-2 Oakland when we come back on HTS. All right, Tommy, thanks very much. We're going to check in with Tom Davis a lot throughout the course of the evening. And, you know, when things happen around ballparks in the major leagues, Tom Davis is all over it, and he will have you right up to speed. Jeff Rebele trying to get the Orioles back up to speed here in the bottom of the 3rd. Andrew Lorraine, for the 2nd time tonight, has been staked to a lead, albeit a rather slim one. 3-2 Oakland. Rebele had an RBI base hit his first time as he produced the Orioles' first run of the night by scoring Brady Anderson. And Jeff, as we've talked about, swinging so very well, had the big weekend series against Oakland last week in the 4 games. Now 8 base hits against the A's this year. 3-1 as Lorraine missed with a fastball.
I was talking to young Willie Adams, and we were just talking about how important it is to get the first batter out in every inning. And, you know, you're in and you're out 49-50% of the time. If the first guy gets on, he scores. And Willie Adams says, yes, but if you walk the first guy, isn't the number closer to 80%? He said, why is that? I said, well, because you don't want to do that. And that's exactly what Andrew Lorraine didn't want to do. You give him a 3-2 lead. You have Rebele, who's not a power hitter, even though he got that high chopper right over the bag at first. You don't want to walk him, and you do. Now you're right into the power guys. 3, 4, and 5. Good way to go take an early shower.
Andrew Lorraine issues that leadoff walk to Jeff Rebele. Here's B.J. Surhoff. Surhoff, strikeout victim his first time. The only strikeout for Lorraine this evening.
A little different approach if you're BJ. Last night struggled a little bit, did not have a lot of quality at bats, and we know what that means. Extra batting practice. Come out here. But the first time up, he was trying to early in the count to get Rebele to 3rd. There's nobody out, runner at 2nd already with a run on the board. Now he can look for a pitch. He can try to use that hole between 1st and 2nd. And we're going to have the pitching coach for Oakland, Bob Cluck, come out and talk to Andrew Lorraine.
You mentioned with B.J. Surhoff, Jim, that usually means if you either take an 0 for one particular game or didn't swing to your own personal satisfaction, you hit till your hands bleed the next day. That's his approach. Early hitting, day in and day out. Off the tee, underneath with Rick down. Anytime or any place he can get a few extra swings, Surhoff will try to find it.
I wouldn't call him an overachiever because he's a really talented athlete. I mean, he came up as actually started as shortstop at North Carolina. They had this guy by the name of Walt Weiss who went on to be Rookie of the Year back, I think, in 1980, maybe 1988 or 7 for the Oakland A's.
They had 3 in a row.
Exactly. They had
Canseco, McGuire, Weiss, so it would have been 88,
right.
86, 87, 88.
So B.J. became a catcher in college, but he can play anywhere.
Surhoff lifts this to short left. Long run, Brian Lesher still coming with a sliding grab. Pretty nice play by young Brian Lesher. He's over in left center field for Surhoff, and he had a long territory to cover.
Well, if anybody can cover a lot of territory, it's a guy that's about 6'7". I mean, he just comes loping across left field, and nice sliding catch. One of the few guys that bats right-handed and hits, and you will actually see him throw left-handed. Nice play. Could have been a double. Wouldn't have been a double because Rebele is only going halfway, but could have dropped in for a single.
Andrew Lorraine getting a little bit of help from his outfield defense. Geronimo Baroa, fastball called strike, outside corner. As we talked about, his first time to the plate. Baroa with the 5 home runs in an Oriole uniform. Jim, you happened to see Saturday night to stay up late when Geronimo made a bid to tie it up in that middle game of the 3-game series in Anaheim, and he scorched a line right back. And as you talk about a lot, Troy Percival, after the follow-through, happened to be falling to the first base side of the mound. Bang, baseball right there for him. Self-preservation.
Boy, it happens. You release that ball, you're only 60 feet 6 inches. You end up about 52, 53 feet away. Tomorrow night, Randy Johnson probably ends up on the grass at 6'10". Of course, you don't hit that many scorching line drives back up the middle off Randy Johnson.
Very good point. He's coming off that 19 strikeout performance last week against the Chicago White Sox.
Didn't he do that already?
He's already done it once. He's coming off it for a second time. Although, as you said a moment ago, good point. Maybe, I don't know, does the extra day hurt him? Look, here's Baroa's shot. Look at this. I mean, put the glove up by the face, and that ends the baseball game.
When you feel like you should have practiced doing the limbo when you were a kid.
2-1 pitch. In the gap, deep right center field. Long run, McDonald and Young not going to get there. On one hop, off that tartan surface and into the seats. Ground rule double, Geronimo Baroa. They're going to stop Jeff Rebele at third base. Andrew Lorraine and the Oakland Athletics caught a break. Rebele being sent back to third. It would have easily have scored Jeff to tie it up had it stayed in the field of play.
Well, Baroa, we talked about sometimes undisciplined. This is a 2-1 fastball. Hitters count somewhat predictable unless you're going to change speeds. He doesn't do that. And Baroa, who came to the Orioles hitting about 377 against lefty, continues his onslaught.
Geronimo Baroa now 2 for 2, pacing the Orioles attack. O's have caught the Oakland A's on the hit side, both clubs with 5. Now it's Rafael Palmeiro's turn to try to deliver. Second and third and 1 out. Palmeiro looks at a breaking pitch called strike. Rafael, his first time, popped out. The third baseman, Mark Bellhorn. Rafael underneath the 200 mark against Oakland this year. Came into tonight at just 190, and that's after the 3 base hits last night. Look out. Ooh, that got away from Andrew Lorraine. Palmeiro never had a chance. That drilled him on his right side. Bases loaded now. Palmeiro hit by the pitch.
We saw last night Matt Stairs take one. He threw behind Rebele. I don't think this is intentional. If Andrew Lorraine knows the numbers that Palmeiro has this year against lefties, you're not going to be hitting him. Contrary to years in past where Rafi has really hit very well against left-handers, he's right around a 220 mark. So that loads him up for Cal.
A couple of grand slam home runs for Cal Ripken. Cal has hit very well with the bases loaded. 4 of his career slams right here at Camden Yards. 6 total for Cal Ripken. He's got an opportunity to put the Orioles on top here in the bottom of the 3rd against young Andrew Lorraine. Bases loaded, fastball called strike.
And the fans boo on that high fastball. It's already been established. The strike zone a little bit higher as we look at Don Wingert. He's up and throwing. Part-time starter, part-time reliever for Oakland.
Pops it up. It's going to get in the seats over the Orioles dugout. As we said, Cal, with those 2 grand slams here in 1997, Rip a .276 hitter with the bases loaded.
Been a strange year for Cal. Hit .316 in April, .250 in May, .300 in June, .241 in July, and this month .407. But the one constant, runners in scoring position over 300 or right around there all year long.
Ripken fist it. It's going to hang in the air long enough for Jason Giambi to backpedal and put it away. And the 0-2 pitch might have been a little up, not of the zone. Cal got jammed, got in, fisted it to the glove of Giambi.
Well, you see right there the advantage of pitching ahead in the count, but he's going to look at the umpire because that first strike, that 0-0 pitch, set the tone for that at bat. He knows he can't lay off the high pitch because this strike zone a little higher tonight. So he chases the 0-2 pitch, and as you mentioned, gets jammed and leaves the bases loaded. Now there are 2 outs.
It's up to Jeffrey Hammonds. As we talked about, his first time at the plate tonight. Jeffrey has not been able to be in the lineup on any sort of a regular basis. 3rd start, last 10 games. Davey Johnson continually says, I want to get Jeffrey to the point where he's good enough to go the next day and that Achilles isn't acting up on him after I play him. He wants to be able to rest him to where he can go a week straight. And maybe tonight is the start of that.
What Davey also would like to see happen is that Jeffrey all of a sudden steps up a little bit with runners in scoring position. 114 with the runners at scoring position and 2 outs, 205 for the year. So the home runs are up, and more home runs than he's ever hit. But so far has not been able to deliver in the clutch that often.
Missing in the fastball. And Brent Maine and Andrew Lorraine wanted that. 2-1 now on Hammonds.
I don't know if Andrew Lorraine knows how good a fastball hitter Hammonds is, but you get him in these fastball counts. He can show you an awfully quick bat.
2-1 pitch. 3-1. For Jeffrey Hammonds here, and the dugout vernacular, you're sitting dead red here with the bases loaded.
We can go back to that one thought that Rick Down talked about. You'd like to hit a grand slam home run, but you want to get a good pitch to hit. If he throws ball 4, the game is tied. You don't want to chase a bad pitch here. Look for what you expect to see, whether it's a fastball, breaking ball. Look in your zone and have a good swing. No check swings. No maybes.
Hammonds awaits the 3-1. Runners with their lead. Swing and a miss. Might have been up and out of the zone.
Pretty impressive. Most velocity that Lorraine's had all night long. Got to 90 miles per hour. And you're right, Jeffrey does go one a little bit out of the strike zone.
I almost get the sense young Andrew Lorraine not real comfortable with the signals from Brent Mayne right now. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He came back from 3-1 down in the count. A couple of fastballs to strike out Jeffrey Hammonds. Orioles strand the bases loaded. Still 3-2 Oakland. 4th inning coming up. To have all of you in touch, Mike Mussina through the first 3 innings has not had his best assortment of stuff, and Jim, that pretty much tells the story.
Yeah, high pitch count for Mike, but over the last 5 years has been the master of making adjustments. Whether it's making sure you spot your breaking ball, I mean, not your fastball a little bit more, or go more to change-ups and the curveballs. That knuckle curve that's been, I mean, splendid this year, and so much better than it's ever been.
Mussina to face the catcher Brent Mayne here leading off in the Oakland 4th. Knuckle curve missed. 1-1 to Brent Mayne. First time Mayne had a infield base hit, actually bounced it high off the plate. No play for Cal Ripken. Mayne one of the 5 Oakland hits. Hayes got 2 in the first on the Mark Bellhorn 2-run homer. They added 1 in the third on the leadoff solo home run from Jason McDonald. Orioles got 2 back in the first, and that's where we stand here going to the 4th. Drive to deep right. Hammonds looking up. That ball is gone. 3rd home run of the night off Mike Mussina. Brent Mayne rocketed a 2-1 pitch deep and out of here. Change up, stayed up. Mayne went and got it. 4-2 Oakland.
How often do you see 3 home runs off Mike Mussina? And you're right about the changeup. 2-1, trying to be a little bit less predictable. First 2 home runs on fastballs, and Brent Mayne, 2nd career home run off of Mike Mussina. Well, he gets the high chopper and then the blast.
It's going to be a night the Orioles offense seemingly is going to have to come to the rescue of Mike Mussina.
Well, they've done it most of the year. Mike's 7th in the American League in run support. Right there, pitching coach telling make sure that Andrew Lorraine doesn't throw that to the Oriole hitters, that high changeup.
Well, Andrew Lorraine is teetered on the brink. Orioles really had him on the ropes just moments ago and weren't able to capitalize. Brian Lesher is having a lot of looks at fastballs in the heart of the strike zone tonight. He was called out on strikes on that very pitch. So I don't know if Brian is sitting on the knuckle curve or the change, but fastballs are being blown right by him.
Well, I think what we're seeing is what Art Howell wants to see, and that is against one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, how this youngster stacks up. You know, they talk about Lesher, he can hit him as far as anybody, but to swing a little bit long, and that may be an adjustment. But I don't think it's a litmus test to how you hit off Mike Mussina if you're a right-handed batter just coming up for AAA. Especially when you make this kind of quality breaking ball, you get ahead, something that Mike struggled to do tonight, and then Lesher expands the strike zone on that good knuckle curveball.
It's a 5th strikeout of the night for the Orioles ace Mike Mussina. 2nd time he's got Lesher. Ernie Young fouls it right side. Young a bounce off victim his first time to Mussina. And Jim, when we're on the West Coast, sometimes we get our mail a little bit late, so we're a little bit tardy, but we hope you understand in wishing a couple of big Orioles fans birthday greetings. Again, we didn't receive these particular messages until we got back from the road trip, so we want to say happy birthday to Ruth Dixon, she's 78 years of age. She's just a belated birthday, celebrated her birthday, a big Orioles fan. And Ruth Alt, also a big Orioles fan, and watches us all the time. Happy birthday to Ruth, too. She lives down in Cumberland. So a couple of ladies that watch the Orioles faithfully want to say happy birthday to you both. Mussina ahead of Ernie Young here in a 4-2 Oakland lead here at the top of the fourth. Fouled left side.
And if you're wondering if Mike Mussina has given up 3 home runs or more this year, you have to go all the way back to May 18th against a pretty good hitting ball club. In fact, the best in the American League as far as power, and that's the Seattle Mariners. They'll be in tomorrow night, May 18th, up at the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington.
1-2 to Ernie Young. Fly ball down the line in the corner and right. Hammond's back in that corner, leaping up. Jeffrey can't make the grab as the baseball hit about 5-6 feet foul. See how that corner juts into that angle, Jim, and watch Hammonds as he comes in contact with that tartan surface.
Oh, valiant effort right here, and you can see right there the sparks. He must have hit some metal apparently when that door comes down. So far, one of those nights for Mike Mussina. Even when he makes the good pitches, when he gets ahead in the count, they're able to foul him off. Yeah, that's sometimes the case here at Camden Yards. Not a lot of foul territory. Not like Oakland.
Big miss by much. 2-2 on Ernie Young.
What was that song by Traffic? Low Sparks.
High Heel Boys. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
The reason I know that because you can put that cut on by Traffic and go all the way from Key Biscayne to the old Miami Stadium. There we go. There, the low sparks of the baseball spike.
Now Jeffrey's not a high heel boy.
No, that was a guy that both Davey Leonard and I played with, the Richie Coggins.
Yeah.
Oh, he did very well. Yeah. Well, so did Earl Wheeler.
Okay.
I never could have read in that book. Together we were 11'9" if I had measured Earl in those high heeled shoes.
Would have had to maybe go over a 12-foot barrier anyway, huh?
4 or 5 inch heels. It's a look. You might have to consider it, Mike.
Heels? Nah, don't need it. 3-2 pitch. Ernie Young not able to catch up to it. Mike Mussina has struck out his 6th Oakland hitter of the night.
Well, he's got the knuckle curveball. Change up for home run, 2 fastballs, but not the knuckle curve. Strikes out Lesher for the 2nd out after the home run, or actually the 1st out, and then here's his 6th strikeout. Another nut curveball. Ernie Young swinging right over it.
Mussina will go back to work on young Jason McDonald. McDonald led off the 3rd with the solo home run drive to deep right. Mark Bellhorn, Jason McDonald, Brent Main are the 3 that have touched up Mussina tonight. Knuckle curve called strike. McDonald's in an 0-2 hole. Not normally the names you might associate with being able to take Mike Mussina out of the yard.
Well, I talked to Mike Flanagan this morning as we looked at Andrew Lorraine trying to best Mike Mussina tonight, and he said it's kind of like pitching against a AAA ball club in spring training when you go down to get your extra work. You can look nothing but bad if you have an off night, because I mean everybody expected the way Mike's been 3-0 on a roll. I mean he's had such a terrific year. You don't expect, and it's not that these guys can't hit, because they can. It's just that there's Mike. He said he was coming down tonight, but you know, basically you put a bat in their hand, they're dangerous.
Ground ball just outside the bag. McDonald's going to get at least another look at Mike Mussina,
because that's the one thing, and you know, Mike would tell you that he started. I mean, here's a guy that until Earl Weaver had a talk with him, was 2-9 his first year and ended up being 15-10. You got to start somewhere. So whether you're Mark Bellhorn or Jason McDonald, you're getting an opportunity to play, and when Mussina's not as sharp as he normally is, they're taking advantage of it.
It's like Flanny's playing Mr. Mom tonight. Two of his lovely young daughters with him. That's Katie. She's up from Florida. Mike may be yelling down to Mussina. Maybe not. I don't think that's pitching tips going on there. The Flanagan family in full force. 1-2 pitch miss. 2-2 on Jason McDonald. Jim, that's a good looking outfit there. Good looking outfit. Strike three. Jason McDonald didn't think so. He looked at one too many, and he's a strikeout victim of Mike Mussina. 7 strikeouts for Mussina. Struck out the side. However, Brent May touched him up with a solo home run to lead it off 4-2 Oakland when we come back.
The only team that takes you live to your home games all across America, every night, every sport. There's one news to choose. Hundreds of games from across the country with over 40 announce teams. Fox Scan on Fox Sports News. We are there.
And a quick look at the Miller Lite highlights, and we're going to feature Tino Martinez hitting his 39th home run of the season, driving in his 109th run. The Yankees go on to beat Kansas City 9-3, so the Orioles need a victory tonight to maintain their 5.5 game lead, 7 in the loss column. Again, the Yankees winning today with Arabu pitching 5 1/3, giving up 3 runs and gaining the win. Michael?
Okay, Tom, thank you very much. Chris Hoiles, the lead off in the bottom of the 4th for the Orioles, looks at a called strike. Orioles now trying to bounce back from Mike Mussina. Birds down by 2 at 4-2. You see, as we talked about our first time, that Chris Hoiles had a good swing in the bat on the West Coast as he tied Brady Anderson with the 8 RBI for club leadership.
I had a chance to talk to him before the game, and he was talking about, we've talked all year long about the impact that Ray Miller and new pitching coaches had, but Chris talked about the impact that Ray had on him as a catcher.
Lorraine just popped up Chris Hoiles. Jason Giambi coming down and near the plate from his position at first base to make the grab.
His good start, he was hitting over 300 much a year until he had the leg injury. It's really attributable to Ray Miller. He said he took completely responsibility for saying, listen, I'm never going to second guess you. You just go out, you call the pitches. You don't have to look in there. We're not going to do anything. You just have an idea. We're going to have meetings and so forth. And he said he just, for the first time, didn't have people second guess his pitch selection. And it just made catching a lot easier. I think that and the fact that they have such a splendid backup in Lenny Webster. When Chris was out, he hit about 325 in that month. So, some days off, a new approach here in Baltimore. And if he can get healthy and get his stroke back, as I mentioned, he's a guy that over a short period of time can carry you. Kind of offensive player.
After the Hoiles pop up, here's Mike Bordick. Bordick went too far. Mike his first time. Rounded out to first baseman Jason Giambi. Bordick, a .232 hitter. Brought the Orioles back from 3-0 down a week ago Saturday in game number 3 in the Coliseum in Oakland. Started Mike Mussina on his way to a big win, and Mike Bordick takes a look at a called third strike. Now Andrew Lorraine works the outside corner to fan Mike Bordick. Send it down near the Orioles dugout. Check in with Tom Davis. Tom?
Well, earlier tonight, Ricky Henderson was acquired by the Anaheim Angels, which probably means Tony Phillips might be done for the season. Just wanted to get your opinion on what you think Ricky Henderson's going to do to help the Angels in the West as they battle Seattle for the Western Division title.
Well, he's going to have an on-base percentage and extremely high numbers. He started out very slowly for San Diego this year, but still at I think 39 can steal a base. He's healthy, and You saw over the last 6 weeks or 5 weeks what Tony Phillips has done. Maybe not quite as much intensity, but he certainly can play if he wants to. Tony La Russa said he was the only guy that he ever saw that could turn it on and off and do that with regularity and be as good as he wanted to be.
Yeah, Tom, we've seen this situation before too with Ricky Henderson making an impact late in the season in a pennant race when he went to Toronto. But the very same thing. Brady Anderson with a ground ball that's short hop picked up by Scott Spezio. He'll throw out Brady Anderson. He's going to do it for the Orioles. They go quickly and quietly in the fourth. Two will come back to yes. Cleveland Indians return to the yard. It's going to be a 4-game and 2-day series September 15th at 16. Now make sure you mark this down. Very important. Split doubleheader games begin at 1:35 p.m. and 7:35 p.m. on the 15th, and then at 12:05 p.m. and 6:05 p.m. on the 16th. Got all that? Each game is an individual event. Good tickets remain for all four at the O's box office and the Ticketmaster. You want to charge by phone? You can do it real easily. Call the numbers you see on your screen. Cleveland Indians in for 4 in a little bit over 24 hours right here at Camden Yards. Orioles baseball, nothing like a day at the yard. Rafael Bornegall leading off the Oakland half of the fifth, showing bunt, and takes a Mike Mussina pitch. That misses as Mike Mussina with that strikeout of Ernie Young last inning. This went into 6th on the Orioles all-time list. He's now at 919 career strikeouts as Bornegall pulls it foul in the seats.
I told you about that home run. It took him 527 major league at bats. Great line from Geronimo Barolo, who was his teammate. After he watched his home run trot, he said he's got to work on that trot. He ran it out like a triple. Probably didn't think it was going out. But he's played a steady shortstop. Not a lot of power, as we talked about. Only 8 doubles, but your average is hovering right around 290, as it is now, 293. And you can pick it at shortstop. I suppose you're going to hang around. But then again, maybe you're not when you look at a guy like Alex Rodriguez after coming off a 350, 8 batting average with 36 home runs, and then the guy that played here for so long and is now playing third base, Cal Ripken. That used to guarantee you a spot in the lineup. I'm not sure it does anymore.
See, I would tend to agree with the latter half of your statement because we've talked about that so much. Rodriguez, Jeter, Garcia Parra. The Gonzalez kid from
Seattle,
Toronto.
Oh yeah,
the Alex Gonzalez. Yeah. Even this Orlando Miller at Detroit, a big shortstop, about 6'2", 190 pounds. I think you got to swing the bat a little bit now, huh, Jim? Play that position. Ground ball to the hole by a diving Mike Bordick. Rafael Bornegall, base hit to left to start out the Oakland half of the fifth. Base hit number 7 off Mike Mussina.
Well, all part of the game plan. You fake that bunt on the first pitch. You bring everybody in, especially Cal. You can see him creeping in a little bit, and then he just places it well. Knuckle curveball that wasn't exactly low and away. And he shoots it through the left side.
Chris Hoyle's up for some conversation. The Orioles ace, Mike Mussina. Mussina gunning for his 14th win of the night. Arthur Rhodes up and throwing now in Davey Johnson's bullpen. If you're just joining us, Mike Mussina has given up 3 home runs tonight. This young man with one of them, 2-run blast, and I mean it was launched out of here in the first inning. Deep right center field. On the outside corner, Mussina working with Hoyles on the knuckle curve for a called strike. A few times this year, Jim, right now, kind of a listless and lifeless Camden Yards crowd. Not a whole lot to cheer about. They haven't made a whole lot of noise tonight. Another sellout throng, as is the usual, but very quiet in here. Maybe they're waiting for the expectation of the man on the mound tomorrow night. The Orioles face Seattle.
I think they're waiting and hoping for an Oriole offensive explosion.
1-1 now as Mussina misses up and away.
I mean, this appears to be one of those nights where Mike Mussina, as you mentioned earlier, is going to need some offensive support. And it's not always the end of the ball game. It can be any point. And then you go back to that third inning when the Orioles with one out had the bases loaded. Cal up. He popped up, and then Hammonds 3-1 count, swung through 2 fastballs. That may be the big play of this particular ball game. And then maybe it won't be. Maybe the Orioles will get into that Oakland A bullpen. It's not a very good one. But it all happens right here with Mike Mussina. He's got to either stop him. I think it's probably obvious with 92 pitches already to Davy Johnson that he is struggling, is not at his best, and so he's got a good bullpen. He may go to it earlier than expected.
Bellhorn with a swing and a miss. Mussina now ahead of the third baseman. Good look at young Mark Bellhorn. Getting an opportunity to play with Scott Brocious on the disabled list. Brocious went down. Well, this club has just been decimated by injury. So many young guys that more than likely would still be at Edmonton in AAA that have had the opportunity now to get up here and perform and show out what they can do at the big league level as they look already at 1998.
As we mentioned, 328 hitter, 11 home runs, 46 RBIs. Let's see if he can do it at this level.
Knuckle curve missed away. Young man's an East Coast guy, born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. One that got away from the Red Sox. Second round pick, June 1995 draft. Played his college baseball at Auburn.
And Ray Fosse, former catcher with the A's, saying that's where his dad went.
Line drive center field. Right there is Brady Anderson to reach up and pull it in. Hit it sharply directly at Brady Anderson.
Made a nice adjustment. After the run, the time up,
and as you mentioned, hit it hard, but right at Brady.
As we told you tonight, we are online talking about baseball in our chat room with you here at HTS as we look at Matt Stairs. One of our viewers, Jim, as you see the address to get on board with us tonight if you'd like to. Got the lovely Amy Potter back there typing away feverishly from the HTS marketing department. So she'll be ready to transcribe to us what you want to talk about baseball-wise. One of our viewers, Jim, talking about the proposed team and league realignment in Major League Baseball. American League, National League teams, some may be moving leagues. There's been one proposal that's gone down with just having the two leagues or one large division to constitute each league. And there could be a lot of differences by the time it's all said and done as to what we know the leagues and divisions are as today.
And what did Tom Kelly say about the Twins maybe becoming a National League club? He said my best hitter, the guy that everybody wants to see play, is the DH, and that's Paul Molitor. I think it's a Band-Aid. They need a commissioner. They need to get some kind of revenue sharing where the small market teams can actually compete. Otherwise, it's not going to make any difference. It's just not fair.
So your belief is that no matter how you realign or no matter what you do, unless the small market clubs are able to, through luxury tax or whatever, to be able to allow to compete with in free agency, it's not going to make a bit of difference.
Right. I mean, can Pittsburgh compete with Cleveland?
No.
Even though they're going to have a regional.
Stairs hits it well. Left center field. A lot of room for Brady Anderson cruising to his right. 2 down on the Matt Stairs fly ball to Brady.
Can the Tigers probably can compete when they get the new ballpark, but it just doesn't solve all the problems. There's just more inherent problems I think they need to direct their efforts at than just automatically thinking that baseball is going to snap its finger just because you had a lot of success with the wild card, that all of a sudden realignment is going to solve a lot of the problems. Yes, it'll cut down on travel costs. I mean, it's a lot of positives, but there's a lot of negatives too. I think you need to think it out, and I think more importantly, when you look at the relationship between the players and the owners, they should talk to the players because they have to okay it. And they haven't gotten around to doing that yet.
There's Jason Giambi now to face Mike Mussina. Giambi 1 for 2. I'm starting to think too that they're going to ride this thing out with Bud Selig long enough that he's going to be named commissioner.
Why?
Well, that I can't answer. I'm throwing the statement out there for you. I mean, is there anybody else on the horizon? This continues to just fester itself year after year after year.
That's a good word. Fester. That's why you formulate search committees and you go get somebody that has some gumption and some other qualities that the commissioner needs to have.
Understood.
I mean, Bud's a very nice man, but I just can't see him as commissioner of baseball. Doing a fine job in Milwaukee.
Giambi waits on Mussina. He's going to go to first base instead and made it close over there as Rafael Bornegol had to dive back. And he's putting a new ballpark under construction to replace the antiquated county stadium. But how do you look after your own franchise, and how cannot that be conflict of interest if you are in essence making all the decisions that the commissioner's office makes in this game?
It can't be. That's why it's ludicrous that he is the acting commissioner.
2-0 as Mussina misses to Jason Giambi.
Now, of course, these are all my opinions. And I'm sure there's some people that think he'd be a fine commissioner. I just think that they should go out, get a search committee, and get somebody that has a dynamic personality that's able to get what we're going to have 30 teams and get them going in the right direction. Now, maybe that man doesn't exist, but that's what needs to happen in baseball.
That's all well and good, but if you go that route, then my belief is that he has to disenfranchise himself from Milwaukee ownership. It's either one or the other.
Right. No doubt about it.
Tom Davis, your thoughts on this situation?
Well, how about 6 months from now, Paul Beeston becomes the commissioner? I mean, maybe they're just putting him in there right now to sort of like see what he can do, and they'll say, we can't get anybody, and then give Beeston the job.
Possibility. You think maybe that move was made with Beeston with an eye on that?
Well, he seems like he's a person that can work with both sides, the players and the owners. I mean, he's got that reputation, so I think that might be a plus for him and a plus for baseball.
Could be a way to go. We'll keep an eye on that. Orioles is going to come behind Bornegol, who got back safely. What title did they give Paul Beeston? Tom, do you remember that? I know I saw it, but I can't recall right now.
I think that's something to do with not league president, but
president of baseball,
chief operating officer or something like that. But
which means what?
Well, the other thing too about this realignment thing that I think what they're really trying to do is cut costs for travel.
Well, there's no doubt about that. The word on Beeston, knows what he's talking about. Very educated man, but he's a DH person. The National League may not vote for him.
Well, if you merge the leagues, though, there'll be a DH everywhere.
Well, the Players Union would like that. It's usually the second or third highest position in the American League, and the Players Union certainly wouldn't want to give up that position.
The other thing, Jim, you mentioned about they haven't gone to the players yet. I don't think they've really finalized the plan. I mean, they're floating a few out there. I mean, there's lesser plans that they can come up with.
Giambi fouls the 3-1 pitch to the plate. 3-2 now with 2 outs here in inning number 5. So Bornegol will be on his way.
The one plan that they're floating also is move like Tampa to the American League in the East and take Detroit out of the East and move them to the Central, and maybe move Houston to the West. And and pretty much keep things that way. I mean, there are alternative plans other than whether you switch about 14, 16 teams,
or Minnesota or Kansas City, maybe to the National League.
Right.
Yeah. Mussina's 3-2. Bornego moving. He missed inside. 2 on now as the 2-out walk is issued to Jason Giambi.
Second baseman, Scott.
Davey Johnson on his way out to have some conversation with his ace Mike Mussina. I think we sufficiently throwed out a few vast and varied opinions about the realignment. We thanks to Tom Davis for making sure that he chimes in with us. There's Mike Mussina's brother, who nervously and anxiously awaits to see how brother is going to fare on the mound. Doesn't he do some local radio on one of the sports talk shows around
Mark Mussina? I think he thought that maybe if you look at the batter that's coming to the plate, Scott Spezio, his father Ed, who former big league player, much better numbers from the left side, only 198 hitter right-handed. But that maybe Arthur Rhodes would be coming into the ballgame. But it appeared to me that Mike, he knows he can't give up any more runs, and pitched very carefully to Giambi. He's had better success with Spezio, even though he does have that home run earlier this year.
Spezio with a ground ball to first. It'll kick foul outside the line. Same type of situation. 2 on, 2 out in the third. He got Spezio on strikes to end that mild Oakland threat after the home run in that inning from Jason McDonald. Hope you're enjoying tonight as you join us on HTS. This is game 2 of a week-long homestand. Still 5 more after this one. Talk about, we talk about scheduling and being weird and realignment. How about Seattle coming in on a Thursday, Friday? When did you ever end a series on a Friday night and then have a new team come in on a Saturday night and play Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Can you recall that ever before? I can't. I look back at a lot of schedules and a lot of different teams. I can never recall that ever happening, unless now, of course, it was for rainout situations late in the year maybe, but never on a schedule that was originally put forth this way.
Well, the reason why they did it was because they had to subtract games to add those 15 interleague games. So, in other words, they couldn't get everything to balance out.
1 and 2. Oh, sure. It's all about interleague baseball. That's why we see these 2-game series. I mean, we've talked about that all year long, but this is the first time you end a series on a Friday night.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think they had an alternative, though, Michael. I mean, unless, you got these guaranteed off days with these West Coast to East Coast road trips and vice versa. I mean, the Orioles had a couple of days off on that trip.
Spezio fouls it off his lead foot at the plate.
Tom, you love baseball. I mean, would you consider taking the job as commissioner?
I tell you what, I'm surprised they haven't gone to Bob Costas, to tell you the truth. I mean, he couldn't be that bad. I mean, he knows the game real well.
Tom, you know the industry. Bob would have to take a pay cut to be.
Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. I think it would be a fun job, though. But the problem is nobody will ever agree to anything to begin with.
And we're still in the 5th inning.
Should we agree to the 3 of us to table this conversation?
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure there are a lot of people at home saying, we're going to wait till they just force it on us.
Yeah, that could be.
Well, but they forced the wild card, and that turned out to be a success. They forced the interleague play. A lot of people didn't like that, and it's been well received. The Orioles are going to be going down to Marlin country, and those 3 games are sold out, and the Braves went in. Both the Marlins and the Braves vying for first place. They couldn't even sell out the first night.
That's right. Spezio backed out at the plate. Mike Mussina backed off the mound. 2 on with 2 out here in the Oakland half of the 5th, and a 4-2 Athletics lead. 1-2 pitch. Fastball called, strike 3. Spezio knew it. He was frozen. Mussina guns it by him. 8th strikeout, Mike Mussina. 4-2 Oakland when we come back. The Orioles hit any home runs, Eric, during tonight's Pepsi Big Slam inning. You're going to win a case of Pepsi and $100. You can enter the Pepsi Big Slam Home Run Derby inning. Do that by sending a postcard to the address you see on your screen. Good luck, Eric Crossley. We'll be rooting for you here in the bottom of the 5th. And matter of fact, the Orioles need some offense tonight to try to help Mike Mussina out. Orioles trailing the Oakland A's 4-2. Jeff Rebele, B.J. Surhoff, Geronimo Baroa here in the bottom of the 5th. Rebele has been on both times he's been at the plate tonight. Had an RBI base hit, driven in one of the 2 Orioles runs tonight. And then Jeff drew a walk in inning number 3, and Jeff was at his feisty best last night in the confrontation that didn't get out of hand, but one that caused him and catcher Brent Maine to be ejected after Rebele was thrown behind late in the game.
He's done a marvelous job with Robbie Alomar on the disabled list with that groin pull on the right side. What a play he made last night on a ball that just by the first baseman Palmeiro. Erickson got over there, made a great play. Maybe it didn't mean a whole lot in an 8-0 ball game, but hitting around 300, playing almost flawlessly at second base. Plus he can play shortstop for you.
Third base.
He can play anywhere.
Right, he's played right field this year. We did the Philadelphia series.
Right.
He was out in right field. Valuable guy to have. He awaits a 3-1 pitch. It's a one-hop shot off the chest of Bellhorn. Throw to first. Got him by a half step. The kid hung in there pretty well down at third base. Mark Bellhorn took that bullet off his chest and recovered to throw out Rebele.
Tell you, a play that would have made Brooks Robinson proud. He talked about this up at Cooperstown last week. If you can't catch it, make sure you get your body right in front of it. And he pounces on it after doing that. Nice strong throw. About a half a step. Boom. Try to center your body, knock it down. You can't get other on it.
Soft's going to test him with a bunt. No play. Bunt base hit. B.J. Surhoff laid it down absolutely perfectly up the third baseline. No play for Mark Horn. Surhoff's first hit of the night.
0 for 4 last night, 0 for 2. Let's get a little creative. They give him the bunt, he takes it. Talked about his athleticism, whether it's defensively or as just a solid hitter. Take advantage of what the defense gives you. Sounds like NFL.
Hey, what is this, on-air audition? You looking to work this
Hardly.
fall? Let me see if I can help you out with that.
We'll leave that to
get you to work this fall.
Tommy Davis.
Tom Davis.
Tom the other night doing a little football.
Doing the Ravens preseason games here on HTS. Here's Geronimo Baroa. Popped it up, right side. Giambi in foul territory will make the grab. 2 down in the Orioles' 5th. Baroa retired for the first time tonight.
First baseman, Palmeiro.
3 base hits for this man last night, including his 24th home run of the year, the 3-run drive that left Camden Yards in left field. Bob Cluck, the pitching coach, is on his way. You know, it's interesting, Jim. Both times
Take that 2 times at Young and Lorraine and given a lead 3-2. You walk Rebele to lead off the bottom of the 3rd. And then here in the 5th, he was down in the count to Rebele, only to be saved by third baseman Mark Bellhorn.
Well, I talked about Clark. I said, you have a young, inexperienced staff. What do you talk about? He said, well, we work on our mechanics in between starts. Very rarely, unless I really see something. I may tell him he's a firm believer, and Mike Flanagan and both of us have talked about it all year long, is that your chin takes you where you want to go, and yet has to be going directly to home plate to be successful. He said, especially if you want to throw the ball laterally, in other words, in and out. He said vertically it's a little bit more difficult, but that chin and that nose and that head has to come down to allow you to get the ball where you want to.
We've seen so many guys with outstanding mechanics that have become big winners in Major League Baseball, as opposed to guys that you know that have this tremendous physical attributes but just don't quite get it, do they?
Well, you like to be able to teach those guys to get it, and that's what those little drills do.
Palmeiro with a fly ball deep left center field, but there's going to be room for Lesher. Orioles strand one here in the bottom of the fifth. Palmeiro just missed it. 4-2 Oakland when we come back. Game, you receive a free set of Orioles baseball cards courtesy of Hershey Chocolate. Orioles baseball cards. There's nothing like a day at the yard. Arthur Rhodes has taken over for Mike Mussina. So Mike Mussina struggled tonight, last just 5 and leaves behind 4-2.
Yeah, I think this is all about pitch count. His pitch count about 109. So Arthur Rhodes, he struggled in his last outing on Saturday, but worked on his mechanics. We talked about it last night. He just couldn't wait for that front leg to get as high enough. He couldn't stay over the rubber, so he got out in front, couldn't catch up. But he's having a marvelous year. You saw the numbers, and when he's on, very, very tough to solve. Kind of like that 74 strikeouts in 67 innings.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it? 1 an inning plus.
I really think that's the transformation of Arthur Rhodes a couple of years ago. He struggled with mechanic, just couldn't make any kind of adjustment. He's gotten to the point now with loving the role he's in. You know, a power pitcher doesn't really have to rely on getting his breaking ball over, but when he does, he's just simply overpowering. And on most nights, that fastball is going to be in the mid-90s, and a little changeup to go every once in a while with it.
Oriole Park, Camden Yards. We take a look at our in-game box score. We hope you enjoy this. It's something we instituted at your request, pretty much. You viewers wanted to see it, so we're here to provide for you to enhance your enjoyment of Orioles baseball. You see Brent Maine had a perfect night against Mike Mussina.
Baltimore chop and a 2-1 changeup for a home run.
Let's watch Arthur Rhodes now to see if he gets back on track. And crowd approval because Brent Maine was one of the main central figures last night.
I don't think Arthur's trying to throw it. He's just trying to get ahead in the count, and you have that kind of explosive arm.
Outside corner for a called strike. It's Brent Maine to be followed by Brian Lesher and Ernie Young. This is 7, 8, and 9 for Art Howe. 6th inning, 4-2 Oakland lead.
And last night was all about Art Howe. I mean, he said it very simply in the paper. He might have hit a nerve. You know, you're down 7-0, and Rebel runs on the 3-1 pitch. He said, how bad do you want to beat somebody? Getting beats one thing, trying to embarrass somebody else is another.
Do you agree with Art Howe?
And we're going nowhere right now. If they lose somebody, that's their problem. Well, that's what I disagree with him. I don't think
that's their problem part.
I don't agree with that, because you don't ever, as a manager, want to see anybody get hurt.
1-2 pitch misses away.
I think what he wanted to do is show respect to his players and say, hey, listen, you know, we're not going to have anybody beat on us. And,
right.
And if that's the case, then don't play, as Davies said today, don't play the first baseman behind the runner. Hold him on. You're not going to run 7-0 if the runner is holding him on, because you don't want to beat somebody in the ground. You want to beat him. Well, then it's not a running situation.
See, that's exactly why I draw the line. On the surface, I don't have a problem with what Art Howe said in defending his players and backing it up. But that's the key point of it all. Then Giambi's got to be holding Rebel on, and they wouldn't have ran.
And I'm sure that if Davey had a conversation with Art today, he told him that.
Yeah.
He said, don't put me in that position. So maybe Art will learn from that.
3-2 pitch, line drive, speared by Cal Ripken. Maine made a bid to go 3 for 3. Cal Ripken, one quick step to spear the line drive.
Well, repeat of last night, playing off the line, and you got yourself an out. Good at bat. It's one of those quality at bats that just doesn't pay off for Brent Maine, and makes up for that high chopper he hit off the plate.
So it's even. He'd be 2 for 3 anyway. Here's Brian Lesher. Lesher did not have a sniff tonight of what Mike Mussina was doing to him. 2 consecutive strikeouts. He rectified that. He just drove the corner in right field for extra bases.
And Lesher, no more Mussina on the mound. He said, hey, I got something I can deal with here.
Well, he dealt with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball. Told you about he likes to get his arms extended. Real hard to pull that pitch, and reminded me when he first came up. You throw him out over the plate, that's where he hit it. It's a ball he drive. He goes down to second with a double.
Second two-base hit of the year. As you see, here's Ernie Young. Young 0 for 2 tonight. Oakland with their 2-run lead, and now have Brian Lesher in scoring position with 1 out here in the 6th. Not a real good hack at all for Ernie Young. Real indecisive on the Rhodes fastball.
I would have to think that the hitting approach against Arthur, until he gets 2 strikes, you look nothing but fastball. If he hangs a breaking ball, then maybe you're going to speed up the bat. But his fastball is so good, if you look for anything else, you're going to have those kind of swings. That could have been a swing, though, that Ernie Young said, well, I know I got to get it started, but I don't really want to swing, but I did.
Pickoff play on. Rhodes threw it into center field. Jeff Rabelais was darting behind Brian Lesher. Arthur Rhodes wheeled and didn't make a very good throw at all. To the left of Rabelais and into center field. That's an error on Arthur Rhodes. Orioles first of the night.
Lesher doesn't run. Doesn't have a big lead. I find it hard to understand why you'd even try to pick him off. And it doesn't really backfire for the Orioles. Now they're going to have to play the infield in. Makes it much more difficult, even though Rhodes, as we mentioned, 74 strikeouts in 69 innings. He is a strikeout pitcher.
He's ahead of Ernie Young at 0-2 as Young fouls it upper deck right side.
And what that error does, it allows Ernie Young to possibly get a run in without getting a base hit. And when you're hitting 172, you like these situations.
A 6 RBI in the year for Ernie Young. Laid off the high fastball, 1-2. Oakland with 2 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. All the runs directly due to home run balls. Got him swinging through it right by Ernie Young, who's not able to deliver with the infield in. Rhodes' first strikeout of the night. Second time Young has been set down on strike. Orioles infield can back up now as you see Rhodes going, I think, Jim, about 96 miles an hour on that speed gun.
But what I like about it is the location outside third of the plate. About knee high. You can see Chris Hoyle's glove, and that's exactly where the ball arrives. Perfect pitch.
Mike Mussina struck out 8 Oakland hitters in his 5 innings of work. Make it the 9th time an Oakland hitter has fanned tonight. Rhodes gets his first. Backs off young Jason McDonald. McDonald was one of the strikeout victims of Mussina. Also drilled a home run deep to right as a left-handed hitter against Mussina in the 3rd.
Statistically, a better left-handed hitter. 221 coming into the game, only 143, but he's only been up 14 times this year from the right side.
For 14, as Jim suggests, as a right-handed hitter. Get that look at the lead off third base from Brian Lesher. Reno. Orioles trying to find win number 74 of the year, and if they do, they go to 33 games over the 500 mark. They're going to have to come from behind to do it. Popped up. Going to get Arthur Rhodes out of the 6th. Chris Hoyles will throw the mask. Put it away. Brian Lesher's double strands at third base. Bottom of the sixth coming up. 4-2 Oakland.
The Orioles tonight against the Oakland A's. And welcome to Baltimore's Camden Yards. Tom Davis here with another Miller Lite highlight package. We're going to take a look at Frank Thomas hitting his 27th home run for the season. Solo shot off of Allen Watson, giving the White Sox a 4-2 lead over the Angels. 27 home runs and 95 RBIs for Frank Thomas. And that is a look at the Miller Lite highlight. I wish Lowe and Jerry Esterson a 38th wedding anniversary. They're here at the park tonight. And that's a look at the Miller Lite highlights. Let's go back upstairs now to Michael and Jim Bob.
All right, Tommy, appreciate that. We've got Art Howell's bullpen going to work now as T.J. Matthews has come on the scene. This young man that was acquired, Jim, in the Mark McGwire deal.
Awfully good numbers. Not only those numbers with Oakland, even though the ERA is a little bit inflated. See, not a lot of innings. One big inning will get that ERA to there. 4-4. With a 2.15 ERA, and of course, if you're going to get a Mark McGwire, you need to give up somebody that got a pretty good arm. But T.J. Matthews comes in with a 4-2 lead. Andrew Lorraine pitched a pretty good game. Struggled in the first inning, gave up 2 runs, and then from then on, so far blanked the Orioles.
We saw T.J. Matthews twice after the deal out in the 4 games in Oakland against the A's. Throws his fastball by Cal Ripken. Jim, we were impressed that he seemed to have a little run and a little hop on that fastball, and he drops down, as we just saw, 3/4 to even more, a little more than true sidearm against right-handed.
Yeah, it appears to me that he might be deceptive. One of those guys that gives you a different arm angle. You're used to seeing the ball maybe from a little higher release point.
He's ahead of Cal Ripken 0-2. Rip tonight is 0 for 2. He's flied out and popped up. He's hit the ball in the air twice. A lot of base hit off the starter, Andrew Lorraine. So Andrew Lorraine in line to get the win. That's the only part of the decision that will be his. If the A's win it, he grabs his first major league win. If not, well, Art Howell will have to ring another one up for his bullpen. Soft line drive over the head of Rafael Bornegal. Base hit to start inning number 6 for Cal Ripken. Second time tonight, Jim, that Cal's been fisted, had enough oomph on it to drop it to left center.
Now, when you get 2 strikes on you, you try to protect the whole plate. And let's take a look at what Cal had to deal with on that pitch. Well, it was a little across his body. Good pitch, bad result for TJ. Real good result for Cal.
Jeffrey Hammonds, he broke an 0 for 12 run at the plate with that base hit. Jeffrey was also a strikeout victim with the bases loaded his last time. Brent Maine having to bounce out in front. Orioles with the potential tying run at home plate here in the bottom of the 6th. 4-2 Oakland. The O's have dominated this season series. Orioles in this the 11th and final game of the year between the two clubs. 8-2. And they'd like to send Oakland packing by finishing off the 2-game series in strong fashion.
There's your home run swing. Slider right in the middle of the plate as Buddy Groom loosens up for Art Howell.
I can tell you about all of them because we saw them all in that 4-game series. Every one of them. Most of them multiple times. Jeffrey Hammonds pops it up left side. Mark Bellhorn's going to put it away. 1 out here in the 6th.
Well, Jeffrey, who broke that 0 for 12 streak with a single his first time up and then struck out, and he'll tell you that slider on the 1-0 pitch, when he was hot, this game would have been tied. And that's what it's all about. You get your pitches, and when you're hitting well, you hit them. Otherwise, you miss them, and fouls it back, and then Matthews makes a good pitch on the inner part of the plate. That's how this game works.
Here's Chris Hoyles. Hoyles tonight 0 for 2. Flied out, popped out. Ripken with a short lead at first. The Orioles down by 2. Cal not expected to be moving. Slider called strike. The Orioles saw T.J. Matthews, as we said, a couple of times. So most of the Oriole hitters getting their first impressions of Matthews on that last road swing through Oakland. Back Hoyles up 2-1.
And that's important. I mean, it's important because we talked about it earlier. You want to see the velocity. You want to see the movement. We can see right here when you drop down like that from the 3/4, the ball's going to run a lot. That's probably a 2-seam fastball that runs probably 6 or 8 inches. Now that could be an effective pitch if your next slider is down and away, or you can get that fastball in a good place. If you hang that ball inside half, you can go a long way.
3-1. Same spot.
See, I talked earlier about I always like to pitch to lefties because first thing you pick up is the catcher's glove. If you're Terry Matthews, and it reminds me very much of Eddie Watt, who had an illustrious career with the Orioles. Eddie used to run the ball off the hitter because if you're right-handed and you have that kind of arm position, and Eddie did, very similar to TJ, what happens first thing you see is the batter, and you throw off him instead of the glove.
Through the slider by Hoyles, 3-2. So he missed with the 2 fastballs that ran in to set up the slider.
I'm not sure he wants to pitch that way, but I think he realizes that Hoyles is a real good fastball hitter. And 3-1, if you get too predictable and you throw it in the middle of the plate, he becomes a legitimate power hitter. 3-1 slider, all of a sudden, I mean, that sets up this pitch right here.
You can pitch backwards once in a while.
Oh, right? Very much so. Would rather not have to. I mean, nobody wants to be throwing 3-1 sliders, but if you're not overpowering and it's about movement and location and the hitter's going to sit on the fastball, then it behooves you sometimes to trick him, because then what happens if you do throw it and you go 3-2? He's perplexed. He has no idea what you're going to throw. And you get a guy like we're going to see tomorrow night, Randy Johnson. You don't know what he's going to throw, and even if you did, it would be difficult to hit. He could tell you fastballs coming, he could tell you sliders coming, and it's still the quality of his pitches. Very much like Mike Mussina. Obviously not tonight, one of his rare off nights, but normally good movement, good location.
3-2 pitch. Hoyles had a good rip at it and fouled it back to the screen. Ripken was not going here with the Orioles down a couple. Of course, Cal still probably not running as well as he would like because of the recent string of back spasms he's dealt with.
Yeah, the catcher that throws pretty well. You don't want to run yourself out of the inning. Not that Bordick, even though he did hit a home run, one of his 2 home runs, one of his 5 home runs out on the West Coast. You don't want to give up an out right here. I think Davey Johnson's saying we only have what 11 more outs if this game goes regulation. I'm not going to give up one right here.
Three-2 pitch. Called. No. He got a piece of it into the glove of Brent Mayne. So Hoyles is out on strikes. It'll be of the swinging variety. The foul tip held onto by Brent Mayne. As Bill Miller went with that right hand.
Now, I don't think he swings on this ball. You can see him get his hand started. That bat not going out in front of home plate, but apparently it did hit the bat. Or at least the umpire thought it did. And that's all that matters.
Mike Bordick with a drive to left center field. A lot of room out there for Jason McDonald, cruising back near the track to reach up and make the play. Orioles strand one here in the bottom of the sixth. Go to the seventh. 4-2 Oakland. Took Mike Mussina deep 3 times. Bellhorn, McDonald, and Maine, and the Orioles have left 7 runners on in the first 6 innings. It all spells 4-2 Oakland. Let's send it down to Tom Davis down by the Orioles dugout.
Well, Michael, I've been trying to get a little interview with Chelsea Clinton, but she can't do it. Obviously, she says she's not allowed to, but it's kind of interesting that she's going to go to Stanford this fall, and 2 of the Orioles' most successful players are from Stanford, and Jeffrey Hammonds and also Mike Mussina, who pitched tonight.
Indeed, we can only hope that Chelsea duplicates some of the academic excellence from Mussina and Stanford and Hammonds in Stanford. If she does, she'll do pretty well. So Mussina graduated in 3 years, Jim?
3.5.
Something like that. Arthur Rhodes working against the Oakland A's here in the top of the 7th. It'll be Rafael Bornegal, Mark Bellhorn, and Matt Stairs. Slider missed in. Bornegal's had 2 hits tonight, scored 1 time. Up around the 300 mark. It's Rafael Bornegal. Getting the chance to play shortstop every day for Art Howe.
We were talking about, can you or do you want to play with a shortstop that good fielder, just a singles hitter? And doing some of the research for this Oakland ball club, they don't have a lot of great young talent in the minor leagues, but the number, or at least Baseball America's opinion, number 6 guy in all of baseball is a guy named Miguel Tejeda, who is a shortstop. He hit 20 home runs last year.
He's a double A, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huntsville. Okay. So maybe a year or 2 away.
Right. Another shortstop that talked about is Rafael's going to try to walk that off, is a shortstop you're going to see down in Miami when the Orioles play the Marlins, and that's Renneria.
Mm-hmm.
The number's not quite as good as it was last year when I think he had a few points over 300. Good range, occasional power, very smooth and very young. Pretty good combination.
Oh, they all seem to be smooth, young, and can hit. All the shortstops in Major League Baseball. It's funny, most of them also are on teams that are either contenders or you certainly expect to see in postseason play.
And how about the year that Jay Bell is having?
Excellent year.
Something like 18 home runs for. Maybe, in fact, take that back. I think it's 21 home runs for Kansas City. He likes the American League.
Right. Swing and a miss. Arthur Rhodes just blew that good fastball up and right by Rafael Bornegal. Let's listen to Chris Ely.
Third baseman, Mark Bellhorn.
WJZ, TV 13 sports anchor on the weekends. He was going to be handling the public address chores here at Camden Yards, at least Monday through Friday, from what we understand. But no one is to sit in the seat that has been occupied for oh so many years, both in Memorial Stadium and here at Camden Yards, by the late Rex Barney.
Somebody sent me an article today about Rex's no-hitter. Actually written by the late and great Dick Young, famed writer out of New York. One of the first guys that just didn't talk about the game on the field, but went into the locker room. There's Rex. 36,324 saw that. Apparently he had one of his off nights as far as strikeouts. Only struck out 4, but and it was like a 2-hour rain delay.
Was that the Polo Grounds? That one, or was it at Ebbets Field?
It was at the Polo Grounds.
Because they beat the New York Giants, right? So it was at the Polo.
Dodgers over the Giants. He got all the runs too. Got him 2 that night.
That's all he needed. Bellhorn wanted to check that swing and did so successfully, as you see, according to Al Clark down at first base.
Well, Jason McDonald hitting 3-0 off Arthur in the last inning, and Art Howe once again give him the green light.
Popped up, out of play.
I mean, why not? Why not try to, hope that Arthur maybe will take a little bit off to throw a strike, throwing anywhere between 93 to 97 tonight. You're ahead 4-2. You're playing the role of spoilers. You're trying to see how your youngsters match up against one of the best, or in fact, maybe the best pitching staff in the major leagues, the Orioles. Give them an advantage. We've already seen Bellhorn from the other side of the plate.
Laid off the 3-2 fastball. And Mark Bellhorn is on with a 1-out walk here in the top of the 7th off Arthur Road.
Designated hitter, Matt Stairs.
Well, Jim, off first glance, Arthur was tagged with that loss last Saturday night, as we know. You talked about the adjustments that he needed to make. What do you see so far in terms of Rhodes' delivery, how his approach is to the home plate?
Still unable to get the ball where he wants to. And Davey Leonard, still sitting in the booth, said, it looks to him that the ball down in the strike zone actually has more life. And what that means to me, he's able to stay over the rubber and make sure his arm gets out in front. When he doesn't, everything is up. And when everything is up, that means you can't finish off your breaking ball. You don't have as much movement on your fastball as you do when you're standing straight up. And there are going to be times. I mean, that loss the other night in Anaheim, he hadn't lost a ball game since May 25th. Well, another long time familiar face, Ernie Tyler. This got a longer streak than Cal.
The pace of this one has really slowed down. No question about that. Arthur Rhodes going to work on Matt Stairs, who takes a called strike. Started that bat but didn't trigger it, and Rhodes in the strike zone. And we are in the chat room tonight. America Online in cyberspace here at HTS, talking baseball with you. One of our viewers wants to know why so many minor league umpires have been called up this year to manage in the majors. It's called now vacation relief that the Umpires Union has been able to put together, and they get time off. The regular umpires get time off, and when they do, there's maybe an umpire or two called up to, usually out of AAA, to fill in while an umpire has maybe a week's vacation.
Well, Bill Miller behind the plate. I met him before the ball game. Eric Cooper and Davey Johnson giving Eric Cooper, who was the home plate umpire last night, raves as far as he thought he was aggressive. He thought he had a very fair strike zone.
Stairs sharply right back to Rhodes. Bordick, there's one. Double play. Arthur Rhodes took that one-hop sizzler and started a 1-6-3 Orioles double play. Now the Orioles have turned the Deer Park double play. Deer Park Spring Water making a donation to the local RBI program that provides inner-city kids with the opportunity to learn and enjoy baseball. Rhodes, Bordick, and Palmero. Deer Park double play. Deer Park. That's good water. Bottom of the 7th coming up 4-2 Oakland.
Yankees won today, beat Kansas City 9-3. Tino Martinez with his 39th home run, and Hideki Arabu won. First of 2 between Detroit and Cleveland. The Tigers won at 13-3. Second game, Tigers are down 4-1 in the 5th inning. It's Cleveland 4-1 in the 5th. Texas has beaten Boston 7-6. Nomar Garcia extends his hit streak to 16. Juan Gonzalez his 28th home run. Minnesota and Toronto 2-2 in the 9th inning. The Blue Jays, Joe Carter with a 2-run homer, his 18th. The White Sox lead Anaheim 4-2 in the 8th inning. Frank Thomas hit his 27th home run. In the National League, the finals, Philadelphia 12-8 over Colorado. Mike Lieberthal with a 3-run homer. Cubs down the Giants 6-5. Sammy Sosa hit his 26th round tripper. The Pirates won over Atlanta 2-1. Florida leads Houston 6-5 in the 8th inning, and the Mets 4, the Cardinals 3. They're in the 8th inning. So that's a complete look at the SK scoreboard. Let's return you now to Michael and Jim Potter.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Brady Anderson, first pitch swinging here as he faces Buddy Groom. So Buddy Groom is on. As we said, we saw him quite extensively in Oakland last weekend. Buddy Groom here to work against a couple of Oriole left-handers, Jim, here scheduled in the 7th.
Well, he's pitched very well as of late. That's exactly what Art Howe hopes continues. Lorraine for 5, struggled in the first inning and then righted the ship, pitched marvelously. T.J. Matthews in the 6th, and here Buddy Groom in the 7th.
Brady Anderson to lead it off. And Mike Bordick, we're going to take a look at Mike Bordick turning this double play here, hanging in, huh, Jim?
Oh, certainly, and you can see how acrobatic he can be. Not a very good throw from Arthur Rhodes. Got it to him quickly. Just kind of tiptoed over the runner.
Brady's going to have to get a new piece of wood. That is the second one that he has shattered tonight.
Double down and away, almost a home run off the left center field wall, and they've just come in against Brady. Pretty good numbers for Buddy Groom. Runners in scoring position, 115. Just amazing. First hitters 0 for the last 10. 2 for their last 28. So he's come in and done the job.
Slider misses as Brady now goes to that black bat at the plate. 2-2 on Anderson. One of the ladies I wished happy birthday to earlier, Ruth Alt, Brady Anderson's grandmother. And Brady Anderson, a strikeout victim there, as he's called out on strikes by the home plate umpire Bill Miller. Brady with a word or two as he walks away.
Fastball in, breaks the bat, slider away, gets the strikeout. Pretty good formula. And Brady might have thought this ball was off the plate. Take a look overhead. This is an umpire's nightmare. And ball 3-4 inches off the outside corner. But it's been a big strike zone all night, and maybe that's why we only have 6 runs on the board tonight. A little bit easier to pitch under those circumstances. Normally.
Jeff Rabelais looks at a called strike. Groom working the outside corner. This is the 4th time as we look at our in-game box score that Buddy Groom has struck out Brady Anderson in their personal matchups. Brady now 2 for 12 against Buddy Groom. Called strike 3. Buddy Groom is in a little bit of a groove right now as he starts inning number 7, although Jeff Rabelais having a long look at Bill Miller, who sets him down on strikes.
It was established in the first inning you don't have to throw it over the outside corner. You just have to be able to throw it off the outside corner to get a strike. This is not the, once again, if we go to that overhead camera, you can see Maine put his glove right out there, and that ball right around the outside corner. Terrific pitches.
There's B.J. Surhoff now hitting with 2 out, nobody on in a 4-2 Oakland lead. Bottom of the 7th. The Orioles have absolutely had it shut down offensively, that is. After their 2 runs in the first, they got 3 of their 7 base hits, and since then there's been nothing happening offensively against Andrew Lorraine, T.J. Matthews, and now Buddy Groom.
A big chance in the 3rd. Bases loaded. Ripken at the plate. First pitch was called a high strike. Cal went after an 0-2 pitch, popped up. Hammond's a 3-1, swung through 2 pitches. Lorraine somehow extricated himself out of the inning, and you're right, not a lot going on since then.
Orioles need to come back and win this one, or that game they picked up against the New York Yankees last night will revert right back to a 4.5 game lead. Yankees winner today behind Hideki Irabu. Surhoff fly ball center field directly at Jason McDonald, who pulls it in. That's going to do it. Inning number 8 coming up on HTS 4-2 Oakland.
The Kansas Kansas City today, 9-3. Tino Martinez hit his 39th home run. Paul O'Neill drove in 2 up the RBI count for the season to 91. Tino Martinez has 109 RBIs. Hideki Arabu pitched 5 1/3, gave up 3 runs, but the Yankees pulled out a 9-3 victory over Kansas City. Let's go back upstairs down to Michael.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much. And we'll be doing that for the rest of the season, both here on HTS and on the Orioles television network. That is, keeping you updated with our pennant race updates. And as we said a moment ago, if the Orioles don't come back tonight, the lead will be right back to 4.5 games in the American League East. And Jim, I can't keep help. Every day I look at that schedule and I see that run that the Orioles start at the end of the month. New York Mets for 3, into Florida for 4, into Yankee Stadium for 4, into Jacobs Field for 2, back here with the Yanks for 3, and Cleveland 4 in 2 days. There it is.
It might be your year.
Yeah. Now, if the Yankees are somewhere in the neighborhood of, say, 3 to 5 games back, those 8 with the Yankees in a period of 9 days are going to be very, very interesting.
Alan Mills loosening up. What the numbers I look are also the wild card teams. How many losses does Seattle have? How many does Anaheim have? Because you're looking at basically most likely Cleveland will win the
by
Central.
default.
Right. They'll win the American League Central, and then you have the Orioles in New York. Either Seattle or Anaheim is going to win the West.
The way I see it, you can come back and scold me if I'm wrong. Anaheim, Seattle, the team that doesn't win out there, odd team out. Go on home. I don't think you're going to get a wild card out of that division. So you better either win it or you probably are going to be sitting come early October.
Well, that's why we get to the loss column. About 5-6 days ago, Anaheim was playing pretty well. They lost last night. They're losing again tonight. There was like about a 7 or 8 game disadvantage for them in the wild card. Now they have 52 losses. The Orioles only have 41. So now the Orioles 11 games up on both Seattle and Anaheim in the wild card if ultimately they would not win.
Arthur Rhodes just threw his slider down and away by Jason Giambi. That's the 3rd strikeout for Arthur Rhodes since he has arrived to take over for Mike Mussina in the 6th. Kansas City Royals are returning to Camden Yards, 3-game series, August 26th through the 28th. A lot of good tickets still remain. Come on out and get them and see the Orioles here at the Yard. You can do it by getting them here at the Orioles box office, any Ticketmaster, or call the numbers you see on your screen. Be a part of Orioles baseball. Nothing like a day at the Yard.
And Mike, you know, I'm not telling you anything new. Maybe some of our people, a lot of people feel that it might be better to win the wild card and have to play Cleveland because the division winner is going to go out west and play either Seattle or Anaheim. Now, if Seattle does win,
you know what that means.
You get Fasaro probably, and
well, you get a preview tomorrow night of what game 1 will be.
And Seattle, they'll be coming in for 2 games. They upgraded their pitching. Got Paul Jarek from Toronto. Got Mike Timlin. Got Keith Slocum.
Right. Yep. Spezio lays off the Rhodes fastball up and away. 1-2 on Scott Spezio. He's trying to get his bat on the ball for the first time tonight. Struck out all 3 times against Mike Mussina. Turned around now, of course, a switch hitter swinging from the right side against Arthur Rhodes. It's not happening tonight for Scott Spezio. One of those nights. Golden sombrero. This 0 for 4.
Could be. Some people call it that.
You didn't, apparently.
I think the only guy ever struck out 4 times was Frank Howard.
Big Hondo?
Big Hondo went down 8 in a row in a doubleheader.
Is that right?
Tom Phoebus got him 4 times in the nightcap. And he snapped that R43 right over his kneecap.
Did he?
The big guy was angry.
But I was one of the gentle giants of Major League Baseball.
But I didn't know that. I found that out afterwards when he was a coach. And at the All-Star game in '70, he was standing there in his, had a lot of the players wear that kind of cut-off underwear that just goes down just above the knee, and he had his athletic supporter on and shaking everybody's hand. Let's beat the National League. I go, yes, sir.
Big Hondo, Frank Howard. Tom Davis, some thoughts on the big man?
Well, when you're talking about the pennant race right now with the wild card and all, if you really look at the standings, the Yankees have the third best record in all of baseball behind the Orioles in Atlanta. So right now in the wild card race, the Yankees are 3.5 in front of Anaheim and Seattle for the wild card. And Florida leads for the wild card race in the National League over the New York Mets by 3. But, it's really interesting that the Yankees reportedly the other day had the same record that they had a year ago,
right?
And that the Orioles are so much more superior because they're playing such excellent baseball this season.
You're right. The Yankees, when they 21 games over 500 when they hit that was the same as last year. Brent Maine with a blast, deep center field. Brady Anderson's got room, running with his back to the diamond to pull it in. Orioles got 6 more outs to go to try to erase this 2-run deficit. 4-2 Oakland, bottom of the 8th, coming up on HTS. Written permission of the Baltimore Orioles and CBS Cable is solely prohibited. Along with Tom Davis and Jim Palmer, I'm Michael Regai. Hope you're enjoying tonight. Orioles would enjoy much better if they could erase this 2-run deficit here in the bottom of the 8th. As you see, as we talked about last inning, the Orioles offense has not produced since their 2-run first inning to tie it at 2 apiece. A couple of solo home runs off Mike Mussina. Mussina only went 5 tonight and gave up the 3 home runs, although he did strike out 8. But if the Orioles do not come back, Mike Mussina is going to suffer the loss. And he came into tonight 12-3 career-wise against Oakland. Buddy Groom, who had a strong 7th inning, struck out 2 of the 3 he faced. You see Aaron Small, the right-hander, far side of your screen. Mike Moeller, the left-hander, and Terry Matthews working for the O's. Ground ball up the line at third, just got outside that bag. Foul ball. Foul ball. Burrow is going to have to come on back.
Yeah, if you're Mark Bellhorn, you don't know if this ball is going to be called foul. You don't know if it's going to go fair or foul. So even though that ball may be 6-8 inches inside, good way to practice. Difficult play. You're going one way. You can see him circle the ball and makes the throw a little bit easier. Better angle as he releases it. And it would have been nice if Geronimo would have been called safe, as he was, and the ball had been fair.
Hit that lip of the grass and made that quick left turn. 1-2 pitch. 2-2 on Geronimo. Geronimo had 2 base hits and then popped out his last time. Baroa 2 for 3 tonight. Swing and a miss. Buddy Groom has struck out 3 of the 4 Oriole hitters he has faced. Got Baroa swinging as a strikeout victim.
A lot of soft stuff, sliders and changeups early, and then the express. Perfect location. Thigh high, outside corner.
I'll bring Rafael Palmeiro to the plate. Rafael 0 for 2 and hit by a pitch tonight. Orioles had 3 of their base hits in inning number 1. They have only had 4 base hits and not scored a run since. Fly ball left field. A room for Brian Lesher. 2 down in the Orioles 8th. Want to remind Oriole fans that Friday night, Orioles floppy hat night at the Yard. All fans age 21 and over attending the 7:35 O's Mariners game will receive a free Orange Orioles floppy hat, courtesy of Miller Lite. Orioles baseball, nothing like a day here at the Yard. With the right-hander, Cal Ripken about to head to the plate. Harthouse going to make his Bell Atlantic call to the bullpen. Buddy Groom was sensational, but he's out of the game now. We'll see Aaron Small work to Ripken. 4-2 Oakland. Join Fox Sports News. They'll bring you the best of what's been going on today in the world of sports. Hideki Arabu returns for the New York Yankees. Joe Sakic, New York Rangers denied he will stay in Denver. And could Kevin Garnett be on his way out of the Minnesota Timberwolves fold? We'll find out. You tune in to Fox Sports News top-notch studio show out of Hollywood after the game. You'll see it right here on HTS. Cal Ripken with 2 out and nobody on, facing Aaron Small, who is taking over for Buddy Groom. First pitch swinging, Ripken on a big bounce to the right of Rafael Bornegal, who throws Cal out. Took 1 pitch for Aaron Small to set the Orioles down here in the bottom of the 8th. Ninth inning coming up. Orioles need to hold it right here. They trail by 2 on HTS.
So, you want to see my Discover Card statement?
I am very, very prissy.
Put up or shut up!
I love to be pampered. I go have my hair done. I love to go have my nails done, have pedicures, manicures. My biggest weakness would have to be shoes. Cashback bonus award really floats my boat.
How many credit cards make a statement like that?
I'm playing all it.
Pays.
Albert. Now he turns it over to the right-hander, Alan Mills. Jim, who Davey Johnson says, all right, let's keep it right here and give us a shot in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, has not given up a run in 10 appearances since the All-Star break, so you never know. If we knew, there's no possible way that we ever could have predicted that Mike Mussina would give up 3 home runs. He's only done it once all year, but Alan Mills, the nerve injury and pinched nerve in his neck, on the disabled list for about 6 weeks. Arm strength coming back. That was on the left side, but Davey said, I want him on the team because I think he can pitch. And he's proved it, getting healthy. 5 of his last 10 outs on strikeouts. So Arthur Roach comes in and strikes out 4 in 3 innings. And Alan Mills, another guy that can strike you out right behind him.
To face Brian Lesher, the left fielder, to lead it off. The 8th hitter for manager Art Howe, Ernie Young to follow, and then back to the top for Jason McDonald. Jim, while we were on the West Coast, Davey Johnson said in no uncertain terms, he said, I asked Arthur Rhodes, all right, after he worked in Oakland on the first part of that trip, are you ready for prime time now? Are you ready to be a contributor like I want to use you? And he responded, I think, significantly in that Seattle series.
Alan sometimes is so low-keyed that I don't know how, and sometimes if he knows how good he can throw. I think he learned a lot last year. He had the shoulder surgery. They went in and got a couple of bone spurs off his shoulder. Didn't have his good stuff early in the year.
Just tapped up the line. Mills is going to have to field, and Palmeiro made an outstanding play reaching down while Brian Lesher was bearing out on him.
Well, Bill Miller should have, if the ball hits the runner, he's going to be automatically out, because I don't know if we have the other angle from high home, but he is running out of the 45-foot line right there. He is well inside the baseline. As it turns out, Allen will actually go across the line, throw the ball in foul territory. But right about, let's see if we'll get it on our screen, there's a 40-foot, 5-foot line, 90 feet, so you can see him up on the grass. That is illegal. If the ball hits him, and the umpire's doing his job, he should be called out. As it turned out, the ball didn't hit him. He's out anyway.
He was trying to make it as difficult as possible for Alan Mills to make that throw. I think Mills, though, outslicked him. Mills went to Palmeiro near the coach's box, so on the inside of the bag.
Are you suggesting we start call Millsy slick?
Slick Mills. Slick Allen. Why not?
I'll run that by him tomorrow.
I will too. You're right about him being low key, though. Allen is very even keeled guy. He's facing Ernie Young here with 1 out in the 9th. Young will follow it back to the screen. Ernie Young is 0 for 3 tonight, struck out a couple of times.
But what Allen learned early in the year when his arm wasn't at full strength last year, it's not always about power. It's about mixing up your pitches, making the quality pitches that he's capable of making. Still looking for that elusive third pitch, whether it's a changeup or a splitter. Because if he had that pitch, has starter stuff. I don't know if he has that durability. And I'm sure they're very happy to wear the role that he is in with the Orioles.
Just saw the real good slider from Alan Mills there. Very tight with a lot of downward movement to it. Two pitch to Ernie Young. Same spot, didn't miss by much. in the top of the ninth, and this 4-2 Oakland lead. 3-2 pitch misses down and away. Ernie Young draws the base on ball. So a base runner with one out for Art Howe's offense here in the top of the ninth. Jesse Orozco up and working in case Davy Johnson needs to. And Jason McDonald is going to turn around again. Started the night swinging left-handed against Mike Mussina. Went right-handed against Arthur Rhodes and struck out in the seventh. We'll turn around again against Alan Mills. Cal Ripken playing well in on the grass. Head of the bag at third. There's how Cal's positioning in case the leadoff hitter McDonald wants to try to push something that way.
I guess the irony is that, yes, you know, he can steal bases. We talked 33 last year at AAA, 70 the year before. But he also showed us he's got some power. When he hit that home run the second time up, 1-0 fastball, and he launched it.
Now, his was on a fastball. Giambi's, or excuse me,
Bellhorns was on a
fastball. Brent Maines was on the changeup. Yeah.
Mike got behind Maine 2-1. Tried to throw him a changeup. Didn't make as good a pitch as I'm sure he'd like.
There goes Young. Swing and a miss. Hoyle's throw. Nothing's out. Good throw would have had him. Chris Hoyle's throw faded toward the left field side of second base. Mike Bordick didn't have enough time to go get the baseball and then come back and get Ernie up.
It's on high fastball. You can see him come up, a quick throw. But you're right. Threw that little slider. It just took off, and Bordick has to reach back. It comes in from shortstop, tries to get the tag, and no chance to get Ernie Young. Art Howe of the Oakland A's, their manager, saying got a catcher that got a quick release, but not that strong an arm. Have a pitcher that's a little bit slow to the plate. Why not try to get another run?
2-1 now, Jason McDonald. Well, the A's trying to add to their 2-run advantage here in the top of the ninth. Some speed at second in the person of Ernie Young. Strike two. McDonald moving back. Bill Miller saying it got the inside corner.
I'm sure there are a lot of people at home saying, well, you know, why didn't Davy Johnson in a 4-2 game bring in Armando Benitez? I got to think that Davy, first of all, he wants to establish Alan Mills' confidence, and number two, he likes a lot of the matchups that he may have with Armando against Seattle. Armando with 2 saves earlier in the year on that West Coast trip.
Ground ball to the right side. Rabelais will charge and flip out Jason McDonald. That'll move Ernie Young up a base. He stands at third base now with 2 out. Mills will go to work on Rafael Bornegor. Oh, Jim, you're exactly right about that. You just think of the matchups that Benitez has been successful in. He's handled Alex Rodriguez well this year. Edgar Martinez, he's handled extremely well to win 2 games in Seattle, and Jay Buhner hasn't really had a sniff of Armando either.
And I think Davey, he knows he's going to pitch. Normally he's going to pitch well when he's had some rest, but back-to-back days still somewhat of a struggle from time to time.
Rafael Bornegor, a couple of base hits, scored 1 time tonight. Struck out last time against Arthur Rhodes. Rhodes fanned 4 in his 3 innings of work. Mussina struck out 8. 12 Oakland A's have gone down on strikes tonight. This will be in the seats, first base side. All of that having been said, it's 4-2 Oakland in the top of the ninth, as the Orioles have one more opportunity to try to stay 5.5 in front of the New York Yankees, who again won today in the Bronx. 0-2 pitch. Bornegal just got drilled by Alan Mills. Now fans are going to react and say, yeah, that's good payback from last night, but in no way, shape, or form. I don't know. Did Alan Mills want to run away?
The only persist bit is that he's the problem ways. He's going to try to establish the inside part of the plate. Bornegal with 2 strikes is hovering. I mean, look at him right over the plate. Now he's trying to protect the whole plate. I'm sure the intentions, you come up and in, and then you throw either a good fastball or a hard slider down and away, but he is literally over the plate and he gets hit.
Runners at the corners now with 2 out from Mark Bellhorn. Bellhorn had one of the big blows in this one. His 2-run home run off Mike Mussina, deep to right center field and inning number 1. And a chance to add to Oakland's lead here in the 9th. Pulls it foul.
He's working on some Brady sideburns, isn't he?
He's got that look. But you know the line, the original is still the greatest, Jim? That would be Brady. The original with the sideburns, still the greatest.
In this era.
What era are you talking about?
I guess they're having, one of the networks is having Elvis week.
Yeah.
And on Sunday morning. I'm a little bored. No, you can't ever be bored watching the King, but that's like a 2-hour documentary. Very interesting. It kind of chronicled all the way up till he passed away. And
did you celebrate that this week?
I did by watching that documentary, but I mean, he had the sideburn.
Yeah, he did.
The mutton chops.
Mutton chops, yeah. Well, you sported some burns in your day.
1971.
Yeah.
Brady, you had nothing on me, baby. I didn't have that angle, though.
No.
Mark, I'm going to have to talk to Mark.
You don't like that straight down effect, huh?
No, it's all right. But, you know, he's just trying to establish himself. He's not looking for the long-term deal yet. Probably looking for it, but he's not going to get it.
He keeps hitting more 400-foot home runs off pitchers like Mike Mussina. That's not a bad start. Now, once again, Alan Mills slowing things up a little bit here in the top of the 9th.
In a situation, you just can't give up anymore. It's been a struggle all night long. You only have 2 on the board.
Bent Bellhorn back. Mills up and in under the chin of the third baseman.
Okay, this is a pretty effective way to pitch if your next pitch can be down and away. Well, he's not trying to come up at his head, and you can see the target down and in, and I'm sure he just tried to, when you're coming in, you're seeing a guy hit a home run, you're going to overthrow it a little bit. You can see the hitter. In the modern era, the hitters do hang up over the plate. They do dive in.
Fouled off left side. 2-2 now on Mark Bellhorn.
And through the years, there have been a lot of guys that have been very effective pitching in off the plate. I had lunch with one of the guys who's in the Hall of Fame at the bat dinner in January, and that was Bob Gibson.
The nastiest. Right.
Steve Carlton was there at the same time, and he said he wrote the book on intimidating hitters. At least as far as he was concerned, because he came up in the Cardinal organization. Don Drysdale, don't get comfortable.
A very successful book on intimidation. Mills with a 2-2 to Bellhorn with the runners at the corners and 2 out in the 9th. Pitch misses up and in. On the move is Rafael Bornegal. Orioles with nobody covering, not going to offer a throw.
When you talk about it, you know, throwing at batters, it's kind of cowardly when a guy's hit a 3-run home run because it doesn't affect anything. But if you can intimidate him, pitch in off the plate, open up that outside part of the plate, which is what Gibson did so well. Jim Lomborg, who won a Cy Young Award for the Red Sox, he'd knock you down in a minute. And throw a low away breaking ball or slider. And now he's a gentle dentist down on the Cape.
3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Bases loaded. Now you got to go face Matt Stairs, but it won't be Alan Mills to face Matt Stairs. And the bases loaded. Davy Johnson's going to have to go to his bullpen, and I think
walk out to the mound kind of says it all. Jesse Orozco is going to come to the middle of the diamond. Alan Mills through for the night. 4-2 Oakland, top of the ninth. When we come back to the yard on HTS.
And we'll take you back to inning number 3 in a 2-2 tie when the Oakland A's broke that tie, and it was the leadoff man, young Jason McDonald.
1-0 fastball, and checked his swing the first time, and I think the second time that Mike Mussina faced Jason McDonald, and surprised me. I'm sure it surprised him. A lot of pop. 40-year-old Jesse Orozco comes in. You can see the numbers. The only thing that's bad is the 26 walks. Where he really has been good, he's #1 retiring the first batter. 36 out of 39 times he's been able to do that, and of course that's what Davy Johnson's rooting for right here.
We saw this matchup in the one game that Oakland won out on the West Coast. Bottom of the ninth in game number 2 of that series, and Stairs won the confrontation with Jesse Orozco with a base hit to right in a 2-1 Oakland win. But against left-handed hitting with runners in scoring position and with men on base, I mean, Orozco's been brilliant. He almost leads the league in all of these categories. Either does lead the league or in the top 3.
Exactly. And Stairs, of course, he's going to be a regular player. He's been a platoon player. He talked about that yesterday. He came up with Montreal and said, I couldn't hit lefties. Well, he's hitting lefties for 282. He's got 4 of his 17 home runs against him. And right now, he's worked the count into a good hitter's count. I'm not sure that with Jesse's great slider, it's a predictable fastball count, but 2-0, you can look for your pitch. If you don't get it, you take it. And remember, Stairs with 17 home runs, only 1 on the road. 16 at the what they still call it, the Coliseum out there,
or the Mausoleum, whichever you prefer. 2-0 to Stairs. Had the good rip at it, didn't catch up to it. Matt Stairs made a nice living hitting with the bases loaded, too. 9 for 19 in these type of situations. So just a beat under 500.
He said when he first came up, he'd get 4 or 5 at bats a year against the left-hander.
Bases loaded with A's. 2-1 to Stairs. Well, Orozco has even up that count. Gone from 2-0 to 2-2. Advantage Jesse here now.
Well, if he gets his slider over, it is. The age-old problem with 2 strikes if you're a hitter. I mean, you got to protect, and we've seen it's a high strike zone tonight. It's a wide strike zone, so this is where you want to be if you're Jesse. You'd like to be 0-2 or 1-2, maybe have a couple of pitches to play with. Yet he hadn't thrown a slider yet, so. But that hasn't bothered him over the last 1,000 strikeouts or so.
2-2 pitch. This will be foul in the seats.
Throw him a fastball,
didn't he? And Davy Johnson probably figures now, all right, he'll go get the snapdragon for me, as Davy affectionately calls Jesse's slider.
And if you're wondering the difference between starting and relieving, I wouldn't have had a real good career if they loaded the bases up and then I had to face that first batter, and that's what some of the relievers have to do, and that's exactly what Jesse's facing here. You don't have a lot of adjustment time to see if your breaking ball is working or not.
No. Might wind up back at the screen, and there's 1 in. 2-2 pitch. Slider. Hoyles went behind Ernie Young and just about threw it into left field. Now, look, Bill Miller asked for some assistance from Eric Cooper on whether Stairs went or not on that 2-2 slider.
Well, I think that Eric Cooper probably didn't get as good a view if they hadn't had the pickoff. We've seen a couple of pickoffs. It's wonderful to do it, but I thought he swung at this pitch. Now, Eric Cooper from third base. Here's the definitive angle. Does he hold up? Boy, that's close. Could have gone either way, and Eric Cooper, I'm sure he's watching the play at third. So he's unable to really give a definitive call, even though he did give the safe call.
A lot of movement going to happen here. 3-2 with 2 out in the ninth. Oakland up by 2. Bases loaded, and all will be off on the Oakland base pass. Full count pitch. Ground ball foul. In this type of situation, Jim, if a long single in the gap may score 3 with everybody moving. Stairs doesn't run that well, but by the time Stairs
gets to first,
that pit, well, yeah. Well, Bornegall was around third by the time Stairs made contact. Ernie Young at third. Rafael Bornegall at second. Mark Bellhorn at first. Matt Stairs, who beat the Orioles a week ago Friday night in Oakland. Trying to add to their lead. Jesse Orozco wants to get it shut off. Got him swinging. Oakland leaves the bases stranded. Orozco evens up the personal duel with Stairs. Jeffrey Hammonds to lead it off for the Orioles. Chris Hoyles to follow. Mike Bordick scheduled behind him. 4-2 Oakland.
They will close to within 4.5 and 6 in the loss column if the Orioles cannot rally for 2 to tie it up here as we enter the bottom half of the ninth inning. Let's go back upstairs down to Michael and Jim.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much. We've got some defensive moves that are being made by Art Howe. Tilson Brito is going to play third base. Brito got the start last night at shortstop. Brito third base for Mark Bellhorn. And Jimmy, their closer, Billy Taylor, tough on right-handed hitters with his 21 saves.
Well, he certainly can be. Last year, best save percentage in the American League, 17 out of 19. What the Orioles need to do, I mean, Lorraine got out of that, somehow extricated himself out of that third inning. P.J. Matthews and then Buddy Groom need to get a runner on. That'll bring the tying run to late. He's not having as good a year as he had last year as far as percentage. About 285 pounds, off in legs, pretty good arm. Took him 14 years to get to the big leagues. 11 cities, 5 organizations. But here he is trying to save a game for a team that hasn't been winning that much lately.
Jeffrey Hammonds, hot shot, diving stop by Brito. Got him. Oh, Tilson. Brito just took away extra bases from Jeffrey Hammonds. Art Howe looks like a genius for making the move.
Well, you can see him off the line, but what a play. I mean, we saw him at shortstop. I don't think a normal third baseman, maybe Brooks Robinson catches that ball, but what great reflexes. You know, they say it's a step and maybe a step right or left and you dive position, but that was about a step and a half. What a marvelous play. Who would have expected that Hammonds would have turned on that ball? That's why you play off the line. Took a sure double away from Jeffrey.
Orioles are going to have to go at Billy Taylor now after the Brito splendid play on Jeffrey Hammonds. Well, how does that change the complexion? Man on second, nobody out, down 2. 1 out, nobody on, down 2 as Harold Baines gets set to swing, getting loose in the on-deck circle. Chris Hoyles, slider misses, 1-1 on the Orioles catcher. Chris looking for his first hit tonight. He's 0 for 3.
And you got a guy on the mound, like I said, 6'7", and his release point somewhere about mid-shortstop. He's throwing right out of Bornegall's jersey.
Breaking pitch. Looping breaking pitch that started in and caught the inner half.
Well, it's really not the break on this ball. I mean, it's more of speed because you know it's not going to change plane. When you're throwing from that arm level, it stays about the same level as it comes through the strike zone. But it's off speed. And once again, I mean, he released it way out there to the right of second base. And Chris unable to pick up the break.
Chris Hoyles just took one for the team right there. You see Billy Taylor try to really drop down and sidearm Hoyles. Hoyles never moved. Orioles have the tying run coming to the plate in the person of Harold Baines.
Well, this is what Davey Johnson talked about when they take another look right here. You're right. Heading the count, and Chris says, not going to hurt me. You're right. Literally taking one for the ball club. Thoughts a breaking ball. Takes it off the calf. And that brings up a guy that can tie the game with one swing. And Davey Johnson said, when I have Harold Baines, he may not play all the time, but I'll tell you what, it's nice to have a guy that, with one swing, can turn the game around, coming off the bench.
See Harold's work as a pinch hitter this year. And Davey speaks often of his hammer in the bullpen and what he likes to use down there. Now he's got one offensively off his bench late innings.
And if Baines plays, maybe Barola will fill this role. If they bring in any kind of left-handed closer.
1-0 on Harold. Baines, a .297 hitter. That includes, of course, his work for the Chicago White Sox in the O's this year. 13 home runs, 56 RBI for Harold. And a pinch hitting capacity here. He'll reach the seats. Left field line. 4-2 Oakland in the bottom of the ninth. Jim, I guess we again put this under the category, although it's not pretty for the Orioles from their perspective. The beauty of the game of baseball, I think 95% of the people that walked in here today, Mike Mussina on the mound against a team 26 games under 500. Mark it up.
It doesn't work that way.
You got to play.
And Mike knows that. He just had an off night. But once again, if you got him a lot of offensive support, it's happened before, as you mentioned in his last start in Oakland, Orioles still win this game.
1-1 to Baines. 2-1.
How'd you like to be Jimmy Key, though, in 9 out of your last 11 starts to get 2 runs or less? Sometimes it's not, and we all know that if you watch the game tonight that Mike didn't have one of his best nights, but 6, 7, 8 runs and getting runs early does make a difference sometimes.
3-1. Brady Anderson awaits in the on-deck circle.
We talked about crowd noise. We got it now.
46,808 have awakened. 3-1 pitch. Harold had a fastball to hit and fouled it off. Taylor's not a real overpowering guy, Jim, when he's upper 80s, low 90s with that fastball.
But I think deception. You're 6'7", and you're throwing from a different release point. It's not about velocity with Billy. It's more with the movement, location. It's got to be tough to hit if he can sink the ball down in the strike zone.
There goes Hoyles. 3-2 pitch fouled off at the plate. Well, Davey Johnson starting Chris Hoyles. Of course, one thing, Harold, with the bad knees, if he does hit the ball on the ground, he is a double play man.
But there is a 13-mile-per-hour differential between his fastball and his curveball, swerve, whatever you want to call it.
The Maryland native Harold Baines with Chris Hoyles at first.
336 lifetime home runs. They'd like to see him add to that total.
High bouncing ball off the plate. Nobody's at first base. Taylor didn't get there. Oh, Jason Giambi made a big mistake. Left first base. Nobody there. Baines beat it up.
And not under because of all the crowd. I talked about the crowd being taken out of the game early. Very similar to the base hit by Brett Maine. You're supposed to yell, "I got it, you take it." But with the crowd noise, by Taylor, I don't know if he did get to the bag first.
Jim, he might have.
Take a look right here. This is what Al Clark's looking at. Now, I think he beat it. Got his left foot down just before. Al Clark right there to make the call.
Taylor's going to lead. Art House goes bullpen. 2 on for the O. They're down by 2 when we come back.
It's Baines and Billy Taylor.
Yeah, see, I think the foot just got down out of Clark, as we mentioned, right there. I mean, look how closely he gets there. And boy, what irony. Harold Baines, who hardly ever legs out a base hit, might have gotten, obviously got a base hit there.
Aaron Ledesma is in running for Harold Baines, who stretched this out to just beat Billy Taylor to the bag. Hoyles at second, Ledesma at first. Anderson with a drive to center. Back on the track, McDonald with room to pull it in. Hoyles tagging, Ledesma tagging. They'll both move up to scoring position. With 2 out, Brady Anderson made a bid. And just missed it. He entered 1 for 10 with 3 strikeouts off Mike Moeller in that matchup.
Oh, I got a great pitch to hit right here. Middle of the plate, and you know, he's hoping. And Jason McDonald doesn't really play the ball that well because he allows, by being a little lackadaisical, for the tying run to go to second base. You don't worry about the runner at second. You're caring about the guy that's on first.
There's a fellow that's been Mr. Clutch for the Orioles many times this year, Jeff Rabelais. He's 0 for 4 lifetime with 2 strikeouts against Mike Moeller, but he's got a chance with the right kind of base hit to tie this one up here in the bottom of the 9th.
And you want to see
for details. Andrew Lorraine got his first win of the year. Jim, the Orioles offense shut down after they tied it at 2-2 in the first. Mike Mussina gave up 3 home runs to Oakland hitting. I guess you say, Art, they stole one tonight, and one that everybody, as we said, thought that Orioles would win with Mussina on the mound.
Certainly would predict that coming into the night. As a matter of fact, Andrew Lorraine's first major league victory period. But he did get out of that inning with bases loaded, 1 out in the 3rd inning, and then the bullpen. They didn't outpitch the Oriole bullpen because the Oriole bullpen pitched extremely well. But Mike Mussina had one of those rare off nights, 3 home runs for only the 2nd time this year. Other one against Seattle, and we know they're a little bit better hitting ball club, but he made some mistakes and they took advantage of it. They deserve this win.
And they get this win, the Oakland A's, that is. They beat the Orioles the final at 4-2. The Orioles with no runs and 5 hits in the last 8 innings of baseball. They had 3 of their 8 hits in the first inning when they got their only 2 runs of the evening. HTS coverage of Orioles baseball has been brought to you by Southwest Air.